Welcome back to Hung Over Hand Right. Chad, Seth, Dylan, Jonathan, and we're back on our top 10s. These lists are like very stressful sometimes to make.
This one was tough,
but they're a lot of fun.
It was like,
takes a lot of brain power though to get them going.
There was a good amount of shit to pull from, but placing them in an order was tough for me.
Yeah.
I think mine got harder. I think my first top 5 to 6 was much easier than my lower tier.
I agree with that.
Oh yeah. So if you can't read, which some of you probably can't, top 10 Falls from Grace, and the title will be top 10 UFC Falls from Grace. But like we always do, I want to go through everybody and kind of just say your what you did for your list. For me, and I'll start. It was guys that have fought in the UFC, but it wasn't necessarily their fall from grace only in the UFC. So that was kind of my thing. Obviously, if we're talking criteria, I mean, mine was just pretty simple. Highest of highs versus lowest of lows. Win streak versus losing streak type thing.
It's exactly what mine is in every way. That's exactly what I did.
I do have some that were like, guys didn't necessarily get to the top, but they were on they had a really great record.
Exactly.
And then they just...
A lot of mine were like champ status and then just kind of fell off from there. Couldn't, regain their...
Some of mine
prior self.
Didn't get champ, though.
Right. Not all mine, but...
I definitely have
That's what I thought of first was...
I definitely have some deep cuts that weren't champ.
I would say my number 10 and my number 9 are not necessarily meeting the same criteria as what me and yous are for the rest of the list.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to put them in there because I feel they belong in a list like this, and I was hoping that maybe it'd be 2 guys that you guys don't have on your list. So we'll see what happens.
Chad?
Yeah, mine is definitely...
Less than 3 UFC fights.
No.
Pride only.
Definitely everybody in the UFC fought in the UFC, but I would say off the cage or out of the cage shit didn't necessarily make my guys on the list. I do have like some HMs and stuff.
Yeah, because technically John Jones could be on this list.
Oh yeah,
but I did not go by that.
I have a couple honorable mentions that were like
there's
fucking close to making
There's a couple
the list.
of real bad ones outside the cage.
Oh yeah,
that I
definitely.
put on here, but not in my top 10. But I put
all of mine are all.
But mainly came from just like you're saying, highest of highs.
Yeah.
Or made champ status and then went down.
Mine are all in UFC, and none of it had to do with their antics outside of the.
Essentially is what mine is too.
Yeah.
Starts off.
All right, 10 to me.
10 to you.
I'm going.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is one that the highest of highs part doesn't apply to as much as some others, but this guy was, I believe he had 3 or 4 UFC fights, and at that time he was 20-0, and then he eventually went on to retire very early compared to most fighters. Thomas Almeida.
Okay.
Thomas Almeida was 20-0 and had fought in the UFC multiple times.
21-0 because he's my number 9.
Is it 21-0?
21, yeah. And that's one of the big reasons why I picked him.
He fought.
Count him up from the bottom.
Okay. He fought.
He was
4-0 in the UFC. He beat Tim Gorman, Yves Jabouin, Brad Pickett, Anthony Burchak. He was 21-0 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ran into Cody.
And everything changed.
And he also lost to Jimmy Rivera, Rob Font, Jonathan Martinez, and Sean O'Malley. And the reason I put him on here is not because his losses are like something to be ashamed of, but more because
he's 21-0.
He went on. Yeah, he was 21-0.
And then he became 5-5 in the
went
UFC.
on a bad streak, and literally his last fight
Sugar Sean
was Sean in 2021, March 2021, and he literally right now is 33 years old.
God, did he officially retire?
Yeah.
I don't know because he had a grappling match in April of 2023.
But I don't think he's in the testing pool or anything, right?
Nah, I don't think.
I think he's done with the UFC. I think, or maybe they're done with him. But yeah, he's 2-5 in his last 7 fights.
He's a guy that I kind of mentioned this earlier. I think he took too much damage early on, like really young.
Yes,
and it cost him.
There is like a happy medium as to when you, like, having all the experience and all the fights is good, but I feel like getting into the UFC at the right time is half of what your career is gonna.
But dude, I remember in 2015. This dude was all the fucking rage.
Right.
He was being talked about. He was being feared. He was not a guy that everybody really wanted to fuck with in there.
I mean, he flying kneed Brad Pickett on the Mendez Connor card.
Yeah. Remember that.
And it was on the main card.
And I remember Connor being upset about that because him and Brad are buddies.
Out of all people, Cody's the one that started the derailment.
I know, right?
Yeah. Probably talk about him later.
Yeah, we probably will. We'll probably be talking
10 to
about
Dylan.
All right, number 10. And this fall from grace is not only in fighting, not a champ, didn't reach the heights that the rest of my list is going to, but just a fall from grace in like life in general.
Whoa.
Big star in Japan. No one guess. Big star in Japan.
Okay.
Huge superstar.
I thought about
at one point in time.
Thought about putting this guy on here.
My favorite fighter of all time, Jason Mayhem Miller.
I almost put him on my list.
He's in an HM.
So
I didn't because I knew you were going. That's why.
So his last honorable or his last good win was he beat Sakuraba. That might have been his last win. It was. So he beat Sakuraba, a little bit of an older Sakuraba.
2016.
But Mayhem was huge in Japan. Beat Sakuraba with ease. And then this goes back to like his superstardom. And then gets a coaching spot on the Ultimate Fighter after not being in the UFC since he fought GSP for the belt in like 2000 fucking like whatever it was.
That was against a two-eyed Michael Bisping.
2005.
Yeah.
I guess that one for the belt.
It was against a Michael Bisping with both
wasn't
eyes.
for the belt, but he fought GSP in 2005. That was his last UFC appearance. This guy was such a big star that he goes and does this thing in Japan, and then they call him up to do tough. Like, it's crazy.
And also, he's the only guy out of UFC to like go off into fucking, what was it, MTV or VH1 where they
MTV.
had MTV Bully Beatdown. I mean,
and that's the thing, dude. He like
he
captivated an audience, and he got. There's no telling how many people he got into the sport of MMA.
Oh yeah,
dude.
You know what I mean?
A shitload.
Because everyone that watched that show was not UFC fans.
Right. They were MTV kids,
right,
like us back in the day.
I don't know.
The fall from grace part was the breaking into a church naked. Completely sober
and had the SWAT team.
He had a SWAT standoff. I forget the actual
with the Asian girlfriend that he was holding kidnapped into his house.
I forget
his doors and shit.
I forget like the stat, but from what year was it? Like from 20, it was around that 11, 12 time. From that time to now, he's been arrested
2014
every year.
2014 to 2020.
Was that it?
Yeah, and then the only year that he didn't get arrested was 2019, and it's because he was already in prison.
Right. But he seems like he's turned over a new leaf.
Got released,
and he's sober now. He's getting his life back together.
He's coaching.
I've listened. He's coaching again. He's been on some podcasts and stuff. It sounds like at 43 years old, he's finally pulling his head out of his ass. But he's also a case of what could have been because, dude, he had the skill set.
Oh, definitely.
He was a killer.
He's a black belt on the ground. His grappling is sick. He beat Tim fucking Kennedy,
which is insane.
He took Jake Shields. It shouldn't have been
Robbie
unanimous.
Lawler choked out Robbie Lawler. He beat some real motherfuckers, dude. He fought GSP, you know.
Dennis Kang. Like his Icon, I think it's Icon Sport.
His first loss is Chael Sonnen, bro.
Keep scrolling up.
In 2002.
Right.
2002.
He's a pioneer, dude.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I mean, his first pro fight was in 2001.
That's insane.
That's nuts.
But his highlights from
who else's was Tim Kennedy, right after 9/11.
Icon Sport and Dream, dude. He was a big deal in both of those promotions. And he had everything to be like because he had the boost from doing the shows and the movies and shit.
Here's what's cool too. He was a superstar in America with a hit show, but he was an even bigger superstar in Japan.
10 to Seth.
That's a good one.
I'm not done yet. I want to ride this cost.
We're on 10.
I love Mayhem, dude.
We all know.
I did the Strip of Doom when I fought the first 3-4 times. I used his walkout songs. I did the whole fucking shit. I love Mayhem.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one.
Long
That's a
live
good one.
Mayhem.
Definitely a good one.
He's
worthy
my
of being on
honorable
that.
mentions.
He actually didn't make mine, but
I guess technically
it's only
he is my
because the
honorable
fall
mention.
from grace was not necessarily in the cage.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
sure.
And also, he was whooping Jacare's ass, but he
Mhm.
illegally soccer kicked him in the face.
Isn't that allowed in Dream?
Dream, I don't believe it was.
Oh, that's stupid. Maybe that's why it doesn't exist anymore.
Mm.
Dream was basically like what was Pride's leftovers,
I like
But
the
no
Dream.
soccer kicks.
but no soccer.
I like
Yeah,
the Dream.
stupid.
That was a good.
He did kick him flush in the face.
All right, my number 10. Now this one, John, how you mentioned that you're going to go off of like the highs of the highs on yours.
Mhm.
There is really no lows of the lows on this guy, which is funny, but there is for all of us. Let me explain.
This is
My number 10 is Zabit Magomedsharipov.
Mm.
Now,
Okay.
this is a guy who's 6-0 in the UFC, unbeaten in MMA, 18-0 altogether. Right? He beat Calvin Kattar, beat Jeremy Stevens, and then was about to beat Yair Rodriguez before it was canceled. But and then boom, he just quit MMA altogether and then became a fucking doctor. And I think he absolutely could have been champ, or at least fought for the title
Well,
maybe twice.
He couldn't like stay healthy either.
He was-
right?
Well, he had injuries that he was dealing
and he
with.
kept getting
Yes,
sick when he would like cut weight.
it sounds like fucking what's his?
But
Chimaev,
he was one of
yeah.
the Russians that I didn't fucking hate.
He's a Dagestani who did not want to be on the ground. He just wanted to
Right.
piece you the fuck up.
No, he was
and he
exciting.
was so exciting. You know, it was so much fun,
Yep.
and he was so dominant. Nobody had shit on him. I think he absolutely would have pieced up a young Yair back in the day.
Yeah, he didn't make my top 10, but he was in my honorable mention.
But it's weird for him to be on a fall of grace because he's 18-0. He's
Yeah.
undefeated in
Yeah.
MMA.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever beat
yeah,
him.
that's
Yeah, his
wild.
fall
He-
of grace is just literally
he
like
retired
getting
on
out of
top.
the limelight.
It's because of him.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there was no actual fall, but it was because he just was like, I'm out. And we're like,
Mhm.
what the fuck? So really bummed me out. But Zabit, I don't know. I figured he would be an interesting one to put on here with a little different.
No, that's a good one. I like that one. And
I thought I was going to get shit from all you guys for that one. to be honest with
Well,
you.
I don't love it.
That's fine.
No, I don't think it's a
But
bad one.
I did preface my number
He
10 and my
did.
number 9 with being
No.
a little weird.
It's interesting.
You
Like
guys already
it's,
know my
it's
number
not
9.
a fall per se.
And obviously,
but-
my number 9 is not weird because you had Thomas Almeida as your 10.
Yeah,
So.
okay.
Chad.
All right. For me, number 10, this guy kind of goes back in the day a little bit. He big swinger, welterweight.
Jake
was
Hillenberger?
actually 18-8 MMA record. Finished 13-8 in the UFC. Right?
Am I right?
Okay.
He won the title. It was a vacant title when he fought Robbie Lawler, Johnny Hendricks.
Mm.
Ah, honorable mention
Yeah.
for me. He
Big
almost
rig.
made the list.
He
Big
made it.
rig.
He came out there and
He was so dominant for so long.
I
he
got notes on him.
He beat Lawler, won the title, and then
That
went
fight
to
pissed me
lose
off.
7 of his last 9 fights,
Yeah, that's a good one.
with 2 of those losses being
He
in boxing, and one of them being bare knuckle to Dakota Cochran.
he went 3-6 in the UFC after losing the belt to GSP.
Yeah,
And literally missed weight 3 times.
USADA
And
killed
those-
this guy's career.
And
Yeah.
got
and the
bumped
losses
for actual
and the
steroids.
losses he had were bad, like
Mhm.
knockouts. So
Yeah, I mean,
But all of his craziest wins is when he was juicy.
Right,
Oh,
right,
juicy,
right,
juicy.
right, right.
But you know,
That's
he was-
ultimately why he didn't make my list, because we don't know if I mean he was probably on some shit.
but
the
what
whole
can you
time.
expect from a fence builder, dude? They're around a bunch of drug addicts all day long. You know, he's used to the drug game.
I think just strictly because you were the champ and then you have this much red in your
afterwards, that's
Yeah.
tough.
that warrants.
yeah,
being
and
he was one I
that's
thought
really what my list is comprised
And
of.
his last fight
what
was
most of mine
against
is.
Dakota Cochran in 2018.
yeah, and he got knocked out.
And he's 40 years old right now.
So
right.
he's- So
And
yeah,
age, that's the thing. Age wasn't a factor with this guy.
Yeah.
His last UFC fight was what, 2017?
talk about a champ with just a tainted ass legacy.
So he
bro.
was
I mean,
33.
I guess the
But
one
yet he beats Hector Lombard.
the argument you could make is that he fought good guys,
he
and
did. I
lost
mean,
to him the
those are
best.
crazy good guys.
he
right
fought
there.
the best of the best.
but the weight it misses and all that shit.
He got head kicked by Tim Bosch.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I see.
doing that.
He's kind of the exception to the good guys part.
Right, right.
Oh,
right.
hey, old Timmy was pretty good
Nah,
back
I
in
mean-
the day, though, man.
He was tough.
He could throw people.
Yeah,
I forget who that was, who he just slung to the ground.
like Okami or something.
Something like that. Anyway, sorry.
So we're going 9 to Chad again.
That was a good
If
number
we're
10.
snaking, yeah.
Now, honestly, that could have been
Okay.
that could be higher on the list.
Hey, my
Might be.
boys that Reese is doing what I told you you'd be doing.
Yeah. I like Zach Savage.
Hendricks almost made my list.
Yeah. No, he was a toss up with a couple other guys I wanted to throw at 10. Mine 9.
Mine 9.
Mine 9.
You German?
This guy's MMA record was 13-7-1. When the UFC was 11-7-1.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He went literally with let's see, he had a 7-fight win streak.
What weight class?
It's like Ben
No,
Saunders or something.
I know.
Is it
I
heavyweight?
know exactly
No,
who you're talking
It's
about.
not.
Yeah.
Lightweight.
Yes.
Well,
7-fight win streak.
Hold on. Before you get into this,
Jens Pulver.
this is the only fighter. Well, we'll say the first fighter that has been in 2 of our top 10s.
It's not Jens Pulver.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
EJ
Yeah.
Penn?
No, it's not.
Just kidding.
Best non-champs.
Yeah. Okay. I think it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Not
yes.
maybe not on your list, but
Maybe no. I think
on somebody's
he
list.
was non. Yeah. Non.
Spit it out.
Today, Junior.
Let's see.
best non-champ
He had
and best
And
fall from grace.
Oh, that's tough. They kind of go hand in hand, huh?
he had one of the best fights probably ever that we've seen that ended up in a draw with Frankie Edgar
Gray?
Gray.
Gray
and
Maynard.
Gray Maynard.
I love
Okay.
Gray. That's a good one. I didn't even think about Gray. Fuck me.
Went on after the Frankie draw, went to fight Frankie again, ended up getting knocked out, and ever since that knockout, he went 7-11.
He's all.
And,
he
Wait,
also,
was it? He won 7 fights after that?
or sorry, lost 7 of 11.
He's
Yeah,
also the
yeah.
only.
He lost 7.
He's
of
the
11.
only man in MMA to knock himself out and win the fight.
The slam.
Yeah. So
while in a guillotine.
had the draw with Frank. So he beat Frankie the first time way back in
Yes,
the day.
yes,
Right.
yes.
But I mean, let's go through his win streak here.
I love Gray, dude.
Dennis Seaver.
Dennis Seaver, Frankie Edgar, Rich Clemente,
Rich Clemente was good.
Jim Miller. I'm not sure who he is.
Yeah, he
Roger
probably doesn't fight
Huerta.
anymore.
Roger.
Nate Diaz, Kenny Florian.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Draw
right
with
there.
Frankie for the belt. Then had a war with Frankie that ended up getting finished in.
Yes.
Comes
Absolute
back,
fucking
beats the
war,
Carpenter.
by the way.
Who doesn't?
A 2000,
Yeah.
hey, a 2012 Carpenter
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Clay Good was 18-18 in the UFC.
Hall of Famer.
But then he went on to lose to TJ Grant, Nate Diaz, not bad. Ross Pearson, not bad. Alexander Yakovlev
Yeah.
wins against
Bruno.
Fernando Bruno, not sure who that is. Loses to Ryan Hall, beats Teruto Ishihara, loses to Nick Lentz.
And,
But at least
and
he-
mind
but-
you, against Ryan Hall,
He went to
got
decision.
pieced up
But he went to decision.
By
right?
Ryan
Yeah,
Hall?
which is
by
yeah.
Ryan Hall.
I
Remember
Pieced
because
him
we were
up.
all. You don't remember that fight? Oh man, yeah, because we were all like, "What the fuck? This guy's supposed to be rolling around on the ground right now." It was just like a Chase Hooper worship.
Retires off
fight.
of a loss to Nick Lentz.
Now, great. Now, he is 45 years old now, so age could be a factor, but also not that many fights. 13-7-1.
See,
Yes.
a guy like this
Not a whole
didn't
lot of
make my
fights.
list because he did win 2 of his last 4.
Well,
Oh yeah, but he went 7.
I know. I'm
of
just.
11.
I know.
yeah, you got to
But
take
he
it all
did.
in.
He still did manage
But
2
it's
of his
just-
last 4.
It's just the fact that he
He literally
fought for the belt,
yes,
and then
and the
lost.
way you fought for the
Just
belt,
went out
almost all
shit.
his
and at
last.
the time
You know
known
what I
as one of the best fighters in the cage
You know what I
or
think
in
this
the promotion.
was during his hot streak. The sport hadn't quite like evolved yet, and as soon as he started taking these L's, that's when the sport was kind of the skill level was getting higher.
Well, yeah, look at
the
the year.
era like changed.
Well,
Right,
yeah,
right.
because of
And
Anderson
it happened
Silva.
during his fucking career.
Mhm.
It's because of Silva. Anderson kind of was like, you know, a bookmark to when the sport started to
I see what
evolve.
you're saying. Yeah.
It was in that era.
Yeah.
So what 9 did Seth?
9 to Seth.
Well, ain't gonna last long. Thomas Almeida.
Tommy Almeida.
My number 9. I pretty much already said everything I wanted to say. You know, he was 5-5 in the UFC. Went from a 21 fight win streak, and then lost to Cody Garbrandt. And yeah,
He's 33 years old right now.
Ah,
That's crazy.
yeah,
That
that's
could
crazy.
just be a health decision, you know. Just
Well, I mean,
Maybe
a health decision
maybe
that
he-
was
his own doing.
that he had to face because he was on a losing streak where he was getting knocked out by a lot of
maybe he
people.
fucking struck gold and is making a shitload of money doing something
hey,
else.
I hope so. Good for him.
Yeah,
Realty.
I'm sure in Brazil, you know, a lot
Who
of
the,
Realtor.
fuck, just, who the fuck
He's
knows?
a favela realtor.
You guys are gonna hate my number 9.
Fulfillment.
Everyone's gonna have him higher
Okay,
than me.
okay.
Cody Garbrandt.
I do have him higher.
He's going to be higher on your guys's. But this goes back to what I was just saying.
Fun fact: Cody Garbrandt didn't make my
He's
list.
been
Really?
Wow.
Oh, he made mine.
Cody, he just lost to Fig, yes. But he's got some wins
He's won.
sprinkled
Between,
in. Right,
exactly.
right.
He's not like completely done.
He's not done
Right,
at
right.
all. He's still there. He's still good.
And also,
but,
dude, the knockout with the Sun Sal was
Right.
that was
And
what turned him around.
Right. But his losses after losing the belt are tough. They're
Yeah.
so tough.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
They're against
are they though?
killers, though.
Well, it's
But then he goes, he has a fucking, I'm going to be a flyweight because I keep losing at 35. And then he gets knocked out by Kai France.
that's tough. You can't go down and then get knocked
right.
I think he is on my. At least you said he wasn't on yours.
he wasn't. He was one of the ones where I could have put a
So-
10.
I think I was going to have him higher.
He's on. Well, he is
Okay.
on mine.
He
But
is on mine.
my point is that he's on most of our list, probably solely because of like the narrative around him and like the MMA,
Right.
Twitter, and Instagram and
Media
shit.
probably made it worse than what it actually was.
And also because his high is insanely
dude,
high. But beating Dominic Cruz,
The
and
way he did
it,
yeah.
and was breakdancing and being cocky the entire time.
3 straight knockouts in a row after that.
No, yeah, totally.
And then you got the frying
of
pan
course,
knockout of a
TJ
Sun
was
Sal.
on
That's
EPO.
That's EPO Shaw.
Yeah. Have you seen him now? Right now?
He's
Have you seen him right now?
He was like 180.
180,
Yeah.
80 pounds.
Yeah.
Jacked.
Yeah.
He looks like he's turned into hot dog water.
Are you surprised?
No, but like, man, he's jacked right now.
But yeah, I couldn't decide if I wanted Cody on it at all because he does like. There's a Suntown knockout that's nasty.
That was a great knockout.
He beat Jones and Kelleher and had a decent fight against Fig. Like he got finished in the second, but
Smaller
he
man
was,
though.
It was at least competitive.
Again, there's probably guys lower on my list that have had worse like streaks than him. But again, I think it's like everyone.
It's a big fall from grace.
Everyone's cousin who doesn't really know MMA that well, they know that Cody Garbrandt fell off.
Right.
You know?
Like
So
it was like, okay, who's gonna knock him out next kind of thing.
Yeah.
It could have
Like
been
he fought for a belt and then was like a prelim guy after that.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, to go from getting knocked out by EPO Shaw,
Yeah.
could that be a thing?
Twice.
Yeah, twice. A guy that was on some shit cheating. Could that have been a factor that can fuck you up?
Sure.
Changing people
Sure, it could be.
if you're on that shit.
I'm not going to say that's like the
I
defining
thought
No,
I
it's
thought we
not.
determined that Dillashaw was only cheating to go to 25.
But
No, he was cheating during
he was on
Garbrandt shit.
EPO.
that's
during-
speculation.
Well,
No, that was a real thing. I thought it came out. It said that he was on
He
EPO.
failed.
Because
No,
he
he
pissed
failed
he
after.
pissed after he fought Henry.
but remember,
Was it Henry?
Cody
Yeah.
went on with Uriah Faber on Joe Rogan's podcast, and they both were like, "Look, we grew up with TJ. We know he was on that shit when he fought Cody.
Okay.
That
So-
could be them just
so-
fucking.
Could be them
Could
just
be,
ganging
but
up on him, but also
here's
he's
the thing,
probably
guys.
not.
Here's
Probably
the
not.
here's
He
the thing,
probably was
guys.
fucking cheating.
There, like, watch any UFC card. There's guys who are in the USADA testing pool, not USADA, but whatever the new thing is. They knock other people out. So just because your body has an illegal substance in it doesn't mean that knockout is worse than every other knockout by
Oh
them
no,
guys.
but there's a reason. But if you are on some shit, you can definitely do more damage. You can get
But
more.
there's-
I think it's just
hurt.
more
But
likely
there's
that you-
worse knockouts than
Right.
the TJ Cody knockout.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there is, but I'm just saying, could it be?
Yeah, I mean,
It
Is
wasn't a
could it be?
sleeper. I mean, he was more
Sure,
of a
it could
TKO.
be, speculation on the fact that was he on it, was he not on it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, after that, a rising star like that to get knocked out by who TJ is a good fighter. Obviously, I could do all the fucking steroids I want. Doesn't mean I'm
you're gonna beat TJ.
I'm gonna beat TJ or beat anybody. You know, but
I see what you're
if
saying.
I'm
I see the
trained
point you're
in
making.
fighting and I'm fucking know how to.
Again, though,
I
it's-
think
we're
it,
speculating.
I'm
a
not.
lot.
I'm
know-
not going to chalk up. Sorry, I'm not going to chalk up Cody's fall from grace by TJ
Steroids,
doing
no.
EPO.
I think
I'm
it
not
was a skill-
saying
it was a
that.
skill game.
I'm just saying maybe
and that's
it's
what I'm
a-
saying.
a-
I don't-
that
it's
TJ
not what
was a
he's saying,
fucking
but
killer.
it doesn't
Oh,
help.
yeah.
It doesn't help the narrative here.
No, I'm not saying TJ's not a good fighter. He is, but it does help that he was on some shit.
Potentially.
It makes it
Potentially.
look better for Cody for his fall of grace, but it still doesn't matter in
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah,
I know we all were like, wow, Cody has fallen the fuck.
Oh,
down.
Everybody-
He was
everybody
going.
has.
He
But yeah,
was
he'll
on
surprise
my.
you. Whenever he'll surprise you.
Right. Whenever he got knocked
Kelleher-
out by Kai France, I was like, he's done. He's
So
done.
did I, yeah.
He's fucking done.
I think for me, I mean, how old is Cody now? Not,
34?
I mean, not
30?
33. So for me, like,
He's got time.
I think what has sealed the deal for me that Cody is just simply not on this level anymore is the Fig fight. Fig,
A smaller guy.
small, but not only that, but just this. I felt like there was a big skill gap there
There was, but it was the first round was decent.
because Fig stood with him.
But here's the deal, guys. is
Right.
I think one of Cody's biggest attributes is his speed at bantamweight.
Yeah.
And you would and the speed is only going to be surpassed by guys in 25, aka Fig. So like I think he's always relied on his speed.
Was at 35.
It was at 35, but he's not. He's always been a 25er.
Yeah.
Right.
Cody's cutting weight. Fig is gaining weight.
I see.
To fight
But
each
like,
other.
I mean, I know what you're saying, but also
Fig still
he
fucked up.
lost a he lost a he lost a 5-round UD to Rob Font.
Right.
You know.
I mean, Rob Font's not a
9 to you.
fucking slouch.
no,
let's
but
keep
he's
moving.
not
'Cause
like
Cody's going to come up two
he's
more
not like the
times.
fastest guy in the world.
Cody's
True,
going to come up
true.
2 more times. So
9 to
let's
you,
go ahead.
John.
9 to me. Already talked about him. Gray Maynard.
I don't have Gray. I don't have
Gray either.
I just again, I think it's the fact that he went to a draw for the title.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to lose a rematch and then lose a lot more after that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
It was
love
just-
Gray. I fucking love Gray.
I do
dude.
too.
Big Gray
He's
fan.
great on Tough. Dude, go back and watch Tough.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
And
He's
he's just a true fighter through and through.
8.
I didn't. So, well, before I move
Sorry.
on, I did not. I would say I hated his guts when he was fighting Frankie because Frankie was like my guy at that point.
He was the man too.
Yeah.
That was a tough fight for me because I love both guys. But I always loved Gray. I think I actually became a Gray fan before I was a Frankie fan.
I would probably
Hey,
say
not,
this.
not me.
That's wild.
I think I was a big Gray fan just because of Tough
yeah.
and everything, and then obviously the fights he had with Frankie,
Yeah.
Legendary.
and then I grew to love Frankie, and who doesn't love Frankie?
Yeah. Well, Sandhagen. No, I'm just kidding. Sandhagen does love him.
So I mean, my 8's going to be pretty short too. It's Johnny Hendricks.
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay.
All right. Well,
I mean,
these
he
are
was
actually a lot
he was
more
the champ, and he beat GSP guys. I don't care what Tapology says. He beat him.
on steroids.
On steroids, and he lost. Still, GSP whooped his fucking ass.
Condit arguably beat Lawler, but he didn't. There's a lot of those.
Number 8 to
But
me.
I think the point I'm trying to make is that if you arguably beat GSP and then you go on to lose a ton in a row,
right.
you're in the top
That's
10.
a pretty 100%.
Yeah,
Except
there's a few examples of that exact
Well,
thing. There's a few examples of that exact situation that make some of my lists here.
Mayhem Miller is much less of a fall from grace in the cage.
Well, that's
than
why
Johnny Hendricks.
I preface by saying in life in general.
Yeah.
But Zabit isn't.
No, he's not.
Number 8.
There is no
me.
fall.
Number 8. I'm
Yeah,
doing number
yeah.
8.
I was joking.
Lucas Rockhold.
Well,
I don't know if that's his actual name.
I bet it is.
I'm sure it's just Luke.
I bet it's like. I bet it's like
just Luke. Dude, he's a surfer boy from fucking.
It's not. It's not.
I bet
bet
it's like
it's just
Lucas fucking Giovanni Rockhold.
So
Probably Dwayne.
Pull up his
Luke
record real quick.
Schuyler Rockhold.
well,
Yeah,
go-
see, it's
scroll-
not Lucas.
Scroll down.
It's just Luke. I knew it.
So when he beat Chris Weidman for the belt, I was like, okay, Luke is going to be champ for quite some time because he manhandled Weidman, like embarrassed his ass.
Yeah.
Fucked him up.
But then
bad.
he goes in and gets all fucking cocky and just overlooks the count like a dumbass.
because he subbed him and knocked him out the first time they fought.
But the point is,
Literally
he loses,
subbed and knocked him
gets
out.
one more win after that against David Branch, and then that's it.
Yeah.
After being the fucking champ.
Well, his chin.
That's
his
it.
chin left his
My
body.
my only issue with this is that, I mean,
He just knocked out Schilling
well,
like a month ago.
not really that. It's
He got
more.
fucked
It's
up by
more.
Mike Perry right
He
before
lost.
that, though.
He lost to Yoel, Jan, and Paul Acosta.
All tough. The Paul Acosta fight, both of them looked equally as shitty.
I know, but that's my thing. Is like he lost. He
He
lost 3 in a
lost-
row to like really
he
good
did,
Top of
motherfuckers.
the food
but
chain.
if you're the fucking an ex-champ, you should be competitive
Yeah.
fights.
I see both sides here.
See,
but
we're
this is why Luke is not on my list.
This isn't that far from Izzy right now.
Right.
But
Izzy's lost 2 in a row.
He's still in the UFC though.
But Izzy is also top
Luke
10
lost-
But
of,
Izzy's
of
not
all
even
time.
close to the fall from grace territory.
He's top 10 of all time.
But Luke
Yeah.
left the UFC, went to fucking bare knuckle where MMA fighters go to die,
See, I almost don't even count that
and lost.
because I mean Mike Perry and bare knuckle. That's like
Still,
Nobody's beating Mike Perry in bare knuckle.
That's what. Yeah, and
but Weidman, dude, like look at the guys he
Weidman
beat.
sucks dick,
Like
though.
literally.
there's a lot on there.
Yeah.
Jacare,
I mean, you can
the
go
Dean of
Jesse
Mean,
Taylor.
Jesse Taylor.
That was a good win.
Tim Kinney, you ever heard of him? Lost to Vitor. That was TRT Tour.
Shout out to Costa Philippou, by the way. I
Costas-
used to like him a
Costa
lot.
I used to
Philippou.
like him too.
Tim Bosch, Bisping, Machida, and dude, the Weidman fight. I can't talk about it enough.
Aldo versus McGregor
He
card.
just ragdolled him, dude. He just manhandled him in every
He
position.
ragdolled him, but then he beat the fuck out of his face more than anything.
Right. I'm just saying he was dominating on
and
the
he was on
ground, dude.
antibiotics and fucked up during that whole fight.
Yeah, he was too. He had staff.
Tito Ortiz Jr. right here.
But then the count comes in and said, "I'm going to left hook you."
Left hook Larry.
And by Tito Ortiz Jr., I mean interview wise.
Right.
Yeah.
But hey, but guys, but let's career for career. Bisping versus Luke Rockhold. They both fought 10 times. I'm taking Luke Rockhold
9.
7.
That's the one.
I'm taking Luke
Honestly.
Rockhold 7 out of 10 times.
I will say, like, if I don't know why I'm about to say this. I
Also-
feel like if Bisping had another full camp and Weidman had another full camp, they both know they were fighting each other. Luke Rockhold probably beat the shit out of him. But the fact that it was
10
like
days
short
notice.
replacement,
10
short
days
notice,
For Bisping.
for Bisping,
11 days notice, right?
that for whatever, Bisping is one of those guys that I think benefits from that kind of shit.
Exactly.
I
really think so.
it's I think
I agree.
personally. I think it's more that Luke Rockhold is like one of the very few dumbasses out there that will take him like that not seriously. I don't know what's the word I'm trying to think of here. Underlook him,
Overlook.
Yeah.
overlook him. Yeah,
Well,
no, very few guys like Corey Sandhagen gets
Right.
short notice opponent. He's not going to overlook the guy.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah.
You're
Luke
saying,
Rockhold will.
You're
it's
saying
because of his ego and his dump. Yeah. his-
Yeah, he
Luke
got
is-
in big headed,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm the champ.
I already beat
and
the
like
guy.
Seth said, he already beat him. Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's one of the hottest guys in MMA, so he's already a prick.
He's like, look at me.
Yeah.
you spit or swallow.
He's literally
girl.
a hill figure model
You
while
spit or
he's
swallow,
champion
girl.
of the world.
Didn't he have like a weird thing on that show where he got kicked
He
off or
asked a
something?
girl if she spit or swallowed.
Yeah, and then there's like he's like
Did
on
he
a
get kicked off or something?
I don't know.
he's at the end of a boat
think
like
he did.
grabbing her ass and shit,
He's-
like
yeah,
roping
yeah,
her,
yeah.
and she's like not really into it. She's,
She like
"Get
did an
away from
interview
me."
after that and was like, "Yeah, he's fucking weird."
For a guy that is as dumb as a brick, his fight IQ in the cage is actually really
Oh, yeah.
sharp. Really sharp.
Except when he fought Michael Bisping
He's got
the second time.
he's got the technical abilities for days.
But the thing is Bisping wasn't beating his ass until he knocked him out.
I mean, they were, as far as I know, they were in the filling out process pretty much.
Yes.
It was 3.5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, like no, like it's not like Bisping was just destroying him. He just left hook Larry'd him.
I know, but and them shots after were accurate as fuck,
Oh,
dude, dog. I love Bisping.
Yeah, I
same.
actually I saw that clip the other day, and Luke threw the laziest
Yeah.
jab,
Just
Yeah.
bullshit ass.
and he just hung out in there for a second.
Yeah.
Was back.
Bisping.
Yeah.
Yeah. He might have even been trying to bait him.
So is
There
that,
he is. Yeah, shout out. There he
There's
is, man.
the count.
And he did it with one eyeball.
Yeah.
is this 8-2? Who's that?
Just to me.
Seth.
It's
All right, you guys are going to love this. Chad, you especially. My number 8, Fall from Grace. Connor
Yes!
McNugget.
what?
Yes.
What?
Wow.
Yes. I don't. I
Connor
Hey.
Mc will never fight again. Connor
I
Mc,
don't
who gives a fuck
have him-
anymore?
I don't have him on my list.
I'm actually
I'm shocked.
I'm so impressed. Not because I don't like Connor, but just I'm impressed that you have like switched as much as you have
yes.
on
I'm
Connor.
proud of you.
I'm a purist. I'm a fan.
proud of
I'm
you.
a fan of MMA.
I wanted so badly to put him on my list.
Okay,
I'm shocked that you
everybody
don't have him on
everybody-
yours.
everybody shut up and let me talk.
No,
My number 8 is Conor McGregor. He's 10-4 in the UFC.
He was going to.
He's 1-3 in his last 5 fights, and he hasn't won a fucking fight in 4.5 years.
against a shell of Cowboys.
And when it comes, and like I said initially, my biggest criteria on this is the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. Well, nobody's ever going to probably reach a higher high than he is.
It's a good point.
And right now, as it is, he's being talked about on podcasts about, hey, if he doesn't fight in the next 6 months, people are just not going to give a fuck. The gates are going to be lower. Crowds are not going to care as much. Everybody's starting to slowly turn on McGregor, and it's only taken almost 3 years to do so, which stands for how incredible he is. But now we're finally getting to a point towards like, I don't even give a fuck. I'm tired of hearing about him. I'm tired of
Yes.
hearing anything about it. I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of the back and forth between him and Chandler. And then every single person who gets a win, aka Dan Hooker, boom, calling out Conor fucking McGregor. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm better.
Dan Hooker recently.
That's what I just said. Dan Hooker is already calling out Connor, saying, "Oh, I'm a better choice for you than Chandler because I've been more active." Hey, Dan Hooker, Chandler knocked you out, bro. What are we talking about? So I'm just sick of everybody chasing the fucking money tail and all the bullshit. And
to be fair, I think Dan gives Connor the 4.
I think he does too.
I think Chandler beats him.
I got two quick things here. The only reason he didn't make my list is because of the snowball's chance in hell that he does come back. He's one win away from being sprung back back
into title
That's
contention.
the only reason I didn't put him on. 2, I almost put Chandler on this list because of what Connor's doing to Chandler right now.
Really?
Wow.
I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Chandler's coming off a lot of really epic
wins. But he
wins.
is single-handedly ruining his own career and another guy's career by making him wait for fucking 4 years.
Chandler knocked out Tony Ferguson cold.
The only problem I have with this is that I think the narrative of the MMA world, and I know the MMA world at this point consists of a lot of casual fans, but
Mostly.
the narrative still is Connor's still a huge deal.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he's still basically on top
he'll
of the
never
sport.
not
As
be,
far
though.
as
He'll never
his
not be.
actual fighting career, though, not how big of a star he is.
Yeah. Oh, I get that his fighting career. Obviously, he's been inactive and everything.
It's dog shit.
And look,
You're right. But he's still the biggest draw that the UFC has.
Yeah, but also
Without a doubt.
to go against what I just said, I'll play devil's advocate on myself. He has lost to Khabib and Dustin Poirier twice, right? So, and he does have a win in there. Donald Cowboy Cerrone. That's nothing.
A shell.
Come on.
Cowboy retired against Jim Miller like his next fight, I believe.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Cowboy
But still,
was my number 2 non-champ of all time.
He was up there for me as well.
And me too.
That's a good win if we're looking at just
That's
straight up
no,
record.
no matter what, doesn't matter what Cowboy it is.
He's only 36 and 30.
That's a hell of a fucking win, though. It's not like it's some it's not a deceiver.
It's a good win. It's a good win.
Anyways,
All right.
No,
It was
I
also-
was shocked.
it was also
that
4.5
wasn't on
years ago.
Dylan's list.
I'm shocked it's not on Dylan's list.
And
It might be still.
It's not. It's not.
Okay.
But like I said, the only reason he's not is because he's not fighting again. I'm just gonna get that out of the way. He's done fighting. If he comes back, he's right back in the mix of everything.
But here's the deal: if he comes back, which probably not,
He's not.
but listen to me, the only 2 possible wins for him is Michael Chandler and Nate Diaz. Everyone else is stomping that ass.
I agree.
Everyone else is stomping that ass.
It'd be really dumb not to take the fighter against Connor.
Yeah.
Right. I think a guy like Saint Denis might even beat him, dude.
Yeah, probably.
He's gonna bring it for sure. Like,
Oh, yeah, he's gonna be all up in
that's
his
the guy
grill.
that Connor doesn't want. If somebody brings it, who's going to drag him in the
Did you
4th round?
guys see the picture of him actually holding the little person up that was hitting on him earlier in the
Yeah.
night?
Yeah.
Sturgis, yeah.
I did see that.
didn't he literally tweet like he deleted it, but somebody screenshotted it. He said like, "Little McNuggets, she was a good lay."
No,
I have no idea.
No,
I
dude,
never
this is the
saw
funniest
that.
thing I've seen in a while. There's a family picture of him and all of his kids and D Devlin on a beach, and then it's split with him holding the midget in his right arm, and his left arm is over D's shoulder. So it's like a whole
last
family,
thing-
and then the midget's on the fucking right side.
The
of
last thing I saw with Connor was a recent post, was him training and all that stuff, and it said hashtag free the Mac.
it. Yeah, it's always been about the narrative he's trying to push. Is always like they
Footage.
won't let me fight. They won't let me fight.
Footage was probably 3 years ago.
Let's not go down this rabbit
Yeah.
hole.
Yeah,
Let's
next-
not.
next.
The UFC wants him to fight.
8 to
Well, I'm sure the UFC
8
wants
to
him
Chad.
to fight,
8
but
to Chad. I'm over it.
When?
They do.
I'm
They
over
do.
it.
but when?
Whenever.
They would let him fight 6 times a year if he wanted to.
Yeah.
What if he said he wanted to fight in December?
He said he wanted to fight in
He
June.
said he wanted to fight after
But
the
he got
filming of
hurt.
Tough.
Well, even before that, he
That's
said
3 years ago.
he said he wanted to fight in March before the June one. He's been
All right.
doing
Chad,
this
there's
over
no
and over
way you
again.
can keep defending this guy. You can't.
You can.
No, you can't.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, you're like, oh, it's scheduled. It's going to happen.
I can have my opinion. You can have yours.
Cut
We'll
to
just move
several
on
months
to-
later. Dana White, yeah, he's said he's not fighting
All
this
right,
year.
my number 8 to me, right?
This year.
8 to me, right?
Yes.
Okay, new subject. Okay,
Thank
8.
God.
Thank goddamn and fucking
Okay,
Jesus
shut up. Number 8.
Conor McGregor.
That would be
fucking
funny.
hilarious.
Connor did make my HMs, by the way.
You're full of shit.
He was 23.
what is
He
that?
was literally 23 on my list, and that was the last.
Definitely does.
That was all
It
I
also
had.
says "fuck you, Dylan" next to it.
Yes, it does. My number 8.
Dylan Edwards.
Guys, 16-7, 12-7 in the UFC. He won the belt.
Weight class.
Won the belt.
Won the belt.
So he was 4-0.
From Anderson Silva. He defended it twice against Vitor Belfort and Lyoto Machida.
I know.
And
type it in.
He's not just American. He's all American.
He is all American. He's all American Chris Weidman.
Yeah, he's a real piece of fucking shit. He's on my fucking list too. I fucking hate
hate Weidman?
I got a million reasons. We'll talk about it.
Other than
Sorry. Go ahead.
He was 16-7, and then after defending it twice, and then losing.
I just don't even put a picture of him up there.
His last win was Bruno Silva.
by eye
He did not look good at all.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
He cheated his way through that fucking
He's
fight.
lost 7 of his last 11.
He poked him in the eye 5 times.
He eye poked him to a TKO eye poke.
I mean,
Yeah.
you,
Look at any
you forgot
comment
to
section.
mention that he snapped his leg.
Yeah.
Look at
Oh, he
any
snapped his
comment
leg against
section
Uriah.
at all that has Chris Weidman in it, and go read the comment section.
This is literally
Everyone hates
Was
it.
this your number 7?
This is my number 8.
Oh, he's
8?
hard than that for me, dude. Fuck him.
Seth is literally Michael Scott, and Weidman is Toby.
Yes.
that's what,
Except I have a reason, and Michael didn't. Fuck Weidman.
A fun fact about I have Weidman's on my list.
Good.
He went 2-4 after losing to Rockhold before he even broke his leg.
yeah.
So after losing the belt was when his
So,
decline started.
Listen to me,
But
in my opinion.
Romero was losses before the leg break. Romero, Musasi, Jacare, Reyes.
But again, you just lost the belt, man. You're going to be fighting those kind of guys.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and talk about Chris Weidman then, and then we can just skip it when it's my turn. He's 12-7 in UFC, right? He went from an 11-fight win streak. I mean, Tony Ferguson was 12-fight win streak. He went 11 in a row, good wins, to 3-8 in his last 11 fights.
Yeah.
And any of his wins and some of his losses there's always some fuckery involved. There's always some controversy. There's always like some whining from fucking, that's my boy Weidman. Dude, it's like always
still my boy.
He's still my boy. There's always some whining and complaining and some bitching and some like, oh, this is fucked up of why I lost. But it's like, no, you got your ass whooped.
I will say,
Don't bring up Gegard's knee.
No. I almost didn't put him on. I wasn't for sure where to place him.
He sucks.
Here's the thing, though. He has a win after the crazy fucking leg break,
And not just the eye poke win.
and not just the eye
Yeah.
poke.
So do most of these guys on our list.
Well,
they got wins after.
I want to say this. He's higher on my list, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all, I want to give Weidman credit
No.
because he
Sucks.
so Tony. Well,
He's kind of funny on that show. What's that show?
Oh, I hate him on that
the
show.
morning weigh-in show.
morning-
He's
yeah.
sitting there calling out DC. He's sitting there being a fucking
There's
dickhead.
There's people that are going to be on all of our lists, right? Who they are on big losing streaks and they do this shit for way too long. Who are obvious to me. Weidman, yes, he's on a losing streak. Well, not
Goddamn
now,
right
but,
he is.
You know
Not
what I'm
now.
saying?
No, he's still a loser. Trust me.
And he still wants to do it like these guys that I'm talking about who are going to be on our list. They still want to do it.
Right.
But Weidman snapped his shit in half.
Bad.
And
Good.
he still wants to do it, but he's not getting just slept by everybody. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
he's still
right.
he's still hanging in there with these guys, and I want to give him a little bit of credit for wanting it
But
as
he's
bad
not,
as
he's
he
not
wants
fighting the guys that he was fighting, though,
But-
before he fell
But,
off.
but he's also
fighting way lower.
He's 40 years old now.
This is dumb fault.
I'm
He
not
went-
saying he shouldn't be on this list. I'm just saying I want to
understand.
give him some credit.
He went
understand.
he went 3 rounds with
I'm
Brad
trying to
Tavares.
combat any kind of credit you guys
he
want.
did, but it did not look good.
He
at
did
all.
not look
Listen
good at
though,
all.
Listen though, dude.
But he wanted
After
to be
having
there.
a
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
compound just snap.
true. But I'm not even before. Even
Okay, fine, then
before
you need to give Connor all the credit in the world because Connor's break was worse than Chris Weidman's.
He hasn't
was.
won since that.
No.
It was not either though.
There's no way.
Connor broke it
worse.
twice. It was in the same area. I'm pretty sure Chris was just one clean break. Connor had 2 breaks.
Oh wah. He took steroids to
either
heal it.
way, let's just
I'm sure Chris
move on
probably did
from
too.
that.
Fuck him.
Chris Weidman would. I understand giving him credit and everything, but the losses that occurred were before the leg break.
That's
where
what
he started looking
yeah.
back.
2 and 4.
I mean, getting knocked out.
But again,
too.
Like John said,
He's higher on my list.
it's fucking. It's who is it? Who knocked him out?
Everyone.
Yoel and
Dominic
fucking
Reyes.
Gegard Mousasi.
Yeah.
Seuss
And Dominic Reyes, who was knocking everyone out at
and
the time.
Jacare.
And Dominic Reyes sucks, and he's on
I'm
this
assuming
fucking list too.
surely Jacare didn't drop him, right? That was probably like more of like a...
An old
Jacare
Jacare beat his ass.
I don't remember.
Punches.
Yes.
Yeah, but it could have been
beat
like
his ass.
It could have been on the ground or some shit. Dude, we're talking about fucking Jacare's. Like, come on, dude.
2018.
2018 Jacare.
He was okay.
Whatever.
No,
Yeah.
Jacare was good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
that, but
fine.
he's still the way he was getting, beaten.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking Gator.
I mean, he's definitely a fall
No,
from
I like
grace.
Jacare.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely a fall from grace, but all I was trying to point out is that he fucking wants to be in there still.
He
Like,
does.
He,
Oh, yeah.
I
fucking
don't.
wants-
Nobody else
doing
wants
it.
him to be in there.
He's a guy that he doesn't like have to do it.
Oh, 100%.
He fucking
Are you
wants
It's
to
for
do it.
the- it's
Are you
for-
sure?
it's
You think
for-
that he's loaded? You think that he's got a lot of money?
He
Well, but
works
he works.
the desk.
Yeah, he works the desk. And, like,
Okay,
he's
the dad-
doing- he's
that's
doing it-
okay. Even more reason for him to not be in there and make me watch him
He's
fucking IPO
doing
people.
it for
But-
the love of the game, dog.
Yeah, he sucks though. Fuck off.
like
He's trash. He's trash.
I'm just saying, like, let's look at what we're going to talk about this guy,
I'm passionate.
and I'm going to go ahead and ruin it.
Hold on, whoa, hold on. Where are
T
we at?
Ferg, he doesn't.
Right.
He has to do this shit. Like, what else is he going
has
to do?
Yeah, get sued more.
So that's what I'm saying. Is Weidman, he doesn't necessarily have to. Like Ferguson has to.
Where are we at on the list?
I don't know.
7.
I just gave my 8.
We're at 7.
Turns 7 to you, right?
Oh, 7 to me?
Yeah.
Back to me? Okay. My 7. Here, guys, 30-16 in MMA, 15-10 in the UFC. He also won the belt. He
Whoa.
beat a guy on my list.
Oh.
That
He
you've already
beat a
said?
guy on my list.
I'm getting more confused.
Yeah,
He
same.
beat a guy on my
15
list.
and 10 and
It
won the
was
belt.
for a vacant belt. Or sorry, it was not for a vacant belt. He
Oh.
beat the guy.
Okay.
He beat the guy.
You're narrowing it down for us.
The guy that he beat won the belt
Jesus.
from a vacant belt.
Okay.
And
Oh, I
he
think I
has
might know.
two
I
of
might know.
arguably the greatest fights we've ever seen. Robbie Lawler.
Oh, no, Chad.
Fall from
No,
grace.
He
no,
retired with a
listen.
knockout win,
Yeah,
son.
bro.
No. A fall from where he was.
He's also 40-something.
He's lost 7 of his last. Or sorry,
I took age into
he's lost 6
consideration.
of his last 9.
Yeah.
His last win was his retirement fight against Nico.
Great win.
39-second knockout.
Great win.
You're right, but from where he was at, a fall from grace.
Yeah, he
He
lost.
won the title. Went on and did that, and then go to lose after he lost to Woodley was never the same
Dude,
fight.
he
But
lost to
isn't-
RDA, Ben Askren, Colby, Neil Magny.
And honestly,
to fall from grace.
The Askren
That's
one
the
was
whole
weird.
hold
point.
on. He started in the UFC when he was 18 years
Oh,
old.
the Askren one was horseshit. That was that fight.
Well, he lost.
He started
But
at
then he-
18 years old, and he's got losses riddled within from the beginning to now.
I
Like,
have
it's-
a real
it's always
problem
been-
with this
yeah,
one.
I don't agree. I don't like it.
problem
It's
with this
fine.
one.
Everyone's list can be different.
It's 15 and 10.
The only thing, the reason that he didn't make my list is, again, broken record here. The narrative around him. I mean, when he
Of course.
his retirement fight, they did a whole video.
No, everybody
thing
loves
and
He's a
everything.
you.
Hall of Famer
Love.
legend.
It's not saying you don't love.
I know.
He-
I know.
Okay, he walked a 39-second knockout at the age of 42.
You're right.
42.
That-
No,
Against
that's now.
Nico
That's now.
Price.
When
41.
was that fight?
41
Oh,
then.
41. Sorry.
He started when he was 8.
Fuck.
He started when he was 18.
Against Nico Price.
Yeah, Nico Price.
From compared to when he was a champion.
Yeah, 10
you
years
have
prior,
you
though.
have a fall from grace.
In a 10-year span?
Yeah, it's still a fall. I don't care
It's
if
a
it takes you
fall, of
10 years
course.
to fall or not.
See,
You still fall. When you go from this high,
This one's
you're
tough.
the champion.
but that's
you're
father
winning?
time, brother.
Well, yeah, everybody on our list, most of our
Cody
guys.
Garbrandt's not.
I just said almost everybody on our list
There's definitely some Father Time guys on my
are
list.
going to be
That's
father
fine,
time.
but fuck, man.
It's going to happen.
This was tough.
I think it's tough to put a guy on the
This
list
is-
that
this
ended his
is-
career with
That's
a
why it's my list.
39-second
And,
knockout. That's
uh,
crazy.
But
crazy. He
yeah,
could still be
he won
beating
the
people.
belt and he lost, and ever since he literally got beat by Woodley and knocked out, he was never the same and went
Yeah.
on to lose 6 of his last 9 fights.
Yeah, this is one that I think, like you take 10, 20 MMA fans, I think, and do this exact list. I feel like it would be the same way. Where like, if we do 10 MMA fans, 5 of them would have him in the top 10, and then 5 of them would have him like
Oh, I agree.
not even
Yeah.
close.
Yeah,
Problem
I
is
think
he-
a lot of people, because they still love Robbie
Yeah.
Lawler.
The
I
thing
think-
is, yeah, but he's a pioneer. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a champion, and he's a legend. He's like all of those things.
I got people like that on my top 10.
I think one would, and it's Chad.
Well, I do too, but it's tough.
This is again the narrative, the vibe around Robbie Lawler is not.
I understand
you
that
don't really
losing 6 out of 9
right.
fights.
Yeah, you
I
don't
understand
remember
that.
all that.
I understand that, but
Seth-
he's in my top 5 favorite of all time. Like
7 to Seth. No, Ruthless is the fucking man.
Oh yeah, if you don't, who doesn't like Rob? This doesn't mean I fucking
understand.
hate Robbie.
That's how I took it.
Well, take it as you will.
This is top 10 most hated fighters by
7
Chad.
to you.
All right, my number 7. He is he's 9-6 in the UFC.
Yuck.
He is yuck. 9-6 in the UFC. He's 3-6 in his last 9 fights after being a champion already. And we've already talked to him. It's Cody Garbrandt. We've already talked about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it quick and easy for my number 7 as well.
Can we do some different shit?
Seth's favorite fighter, the All-American Chris Weidman.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Gus and almost really got mad at you.
No.
Just saying,
Although
that's
not
crazy.
bad.
No, that's no fault.
Not bad.
Man.
Not bad.
No, fuck off.
And then JDS maybe too.
Get killed. JDS maybe.
JD, yeah.
maybe.
7 to John.
So I think you guys are going to have this guy higher. But again, I mean, legend, pioneer. Probably.
Legend and pioneer.
Probably, I'm
Ooh, I know.
not top 10 champs of all time, but in the conversation.
PJ Penn?
Yes.
Ah!
Yes.
He's way higher. And what? I figured you would have had him higher than you do, for
He
sure.
lost a cocksuck load in a row.
Yeah, 7.
And all, but my problem, the problem, and I have him high, but my problem with having him this high is that you actually look through like his prime, and he lost quite a bit in his prime too.
Yeah,
I know, but listen,
that's yeah.
Hold on, I got to get this out. We're talking about a guy who is in most people who know most about this sports. A lot of them, they're Mount Rushmores.
Everyone knows the licking of the
and when you talk about a run, who's had the ultimate best run in MMA, period. It's him and Anderson Silva.
No.
The best runs?
Not him.
No.
No,
Not
BJ Penn is, dude.
Are we talking about this run right here?
Yeah, that's the only run he had in 03.
Dude.
Bro, he lost a lot.
I know, but he's trust me, I think he's second on my list, but
I think
he's a Hall of Fame. He's a
him losing to
one of the greatest of all
GSP.
time.
Like I think the run you're talking about is him losing to GSP at 170 by a split decision. Like that almost doesn't even count. You know, like
I know, but the motherfucker
people don't take
with
points
BJ,
away.
he fought at heavyweight.
all the
He
time.
fought at heavyweight.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake. And he's a lightweight.
My problem, and this again, Tapology doesn't even show the bar knockouts. That's so you know you got to add a couple.
So the strip
he
club
didn't get
knockout.
fucked up at the bar. He
Scroll back down,
fucked
John,
people
to the
up at
early
the
days.
bar.
So, hot take: he didn't make my list, but only because he
lost a lot.
He lost a lot throughout his career.
Yeah,
Didn't make your list on Fall from Grace?
Yeah,
like top 10 list.
Bro, he's one of the goats.
He is, but that's
Astro Rogan or Dana White.
Again, narrative kind of like the
Right,
narrative
right,
is
right.
people think super high of him. I'm kind of making Seth's point here. Is like the narrative is like BJ Penn's like
oh, it's BJ fucking Penn.
one
He's
of the
a
goats.
legend.
No, I get it.
But then
I
when
get
you
it.
kind of get
But
into
it's
the
crazy
record,
that he's on your list, though. That's what's weird to me.
Yeah, but by the time he started losing a lot, he was older already.
It's just nobody had seen somebody as dominant and as weird and as just crazy as. I mean, dude, he got his black belt in 2.5 years. I mean,
12-3-2 in the UFC.
12, 13.
13.
That's
You
what
said-
I meant.
You're only 10 off.
12-3-2. Holy shit! Where was his fall?
Yeah.
45 years old right now. So his last fight was
Clay Guida.
2019.
I think I don't know. It's crazy he's not
God,
on
he
your
fought
list.
Clay at 40 years old.
Yeah,
Crazy
I
he's
do.
not
I
on your
agree. I
list.
agree.
That's crazy to me.
Mm.
That you're basically discrediting his entire career by not putting him
I'm
on
just
the
saying
list.
he lost too much, man.
So did we already go through sevens? Or did
that
I?
was
I did 8 and 7.
You, my 7 was
seven-
wide.
My 7 was Cody.
So I go 6 now.
Right,
Yes.
Yeah.
right.
Cody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick one.
My number 6. Again,
Should be BJ Penn, but go ahead.
the fall wasn't as high as a lot of the guys that we're talking about. Like he didn't reach the height as much, but he was a huge deal in the UK. the biggest deal.
Darren Till.
He was a huge fucking deal over there.
He is
got skyrocketed to a title shot way too quick against Tyron Woodley and was just never could get back after that fight.
I would say at the time frame right now, being 2024, this guy is like prime example of fall from grace.
Right.
Who's in the news all the time still. He's still fighting, but in other organizations and losing to people he should absolutely not lose to.
So go down, John, a little bit.
My thing is that I just don't. He left the UFC like on his own accord.
But I think they were going to give him the boot, though. I think they were going to be like, hey,
I
we're going to let you leave.
I think it might have been something like that, or maybe they gave him like a shit contract that he like.
They weren't
expecting him to accept.
I think there was behind closed doors talk with Darren Till.
I think
like,
you're right.
You should step down
because he like said, I'm leaving the UFC,
but I'm coming back.
Everyone was like, oh.
He goes, hey, no, he said, I'm taking a break and I'll be back.
Everyone was like, yeah,
because I have to work on some mental health shit. That's the UFC was like, hey, we don't want to be disrespectful and give you the boot.
His last UFC loss was Drickus.
100%. Yeah. No, that's
last loss actually.
But this was Drickus. I guess 2022.
Yeah, and then Derek Brunson, nothing to be ashamed of. Robert Whitaker, nothing to be ashamed of.
Again,
Jorge Masvidal, nothing to be ashamed of. Tyron Woodley, nothing to be ashamed of. Really.
The hype this guy carried with him, you would have thought no one's touching this guy.
And he's your number 6?
Yep.
Well,
I got him at
12. I agree.
I do not have him on my top 10 either.
Oh,
that's fine.
I think he's a prime example.
Whenever he beat Cowboy, I was like, oh, okay, this guy might be the real
Here's what
deal.
I want to say. He had one of, as far as the UFC really throwing some major money into building a guy.
100%.
I mean, dude, they were making entire countdowns. They were making him the belle of the ball when it came to what did they do on Fight Week? Help me out. Every day they do a fucking show on it. Embedded. They were making him the belle of the ball on all the embeddeds. He was the main star on all of these shows. They were hyping him up like a motherfucker, doing special things for Darren Till. And then he was promising. He was getting the wins.
And look at the canceled fights too, dude.
I know.
He dealt with a string of injuries.
This is another thing. Yeah, he had the injuries, but even this is why he's a perfect example for being a fall from grace. He would have lost to Marvin Vettori. He would have lost to Jack Hermanson.
Right.
And he would have lost.
Everyone exposed the grappling.
Julio Cesar Chavez
He was
Jr.?
a one-trick pony, but the reason he's on my list is because of the hype that was around this guy.
I fully agree.
He was going to be the next Conor.
Yes.
He was going to be the next Conor.
Yes.
That's what they were selling him as.
Yes, he was the next.
And
he was the next UK or European fighter.
He was going to be a Bisping.
Cash grab.
He never
Cash
lived
cow.
up to the hype, and as soon as he lost to Woodley in that fight, he should not have even been in the cage.
I feel like
Woodley.
Darren Till is one of those fighters that Dana will always look back on and cringe. He's like, I put so much fucking time and money into this kid, and he's over here getting arrested and doing crazy shit.
Like, yeah, sure, he went a draw with Dalby, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. But
a good Wonder Boy.
He did, but that fight was in the UK too.
One of the best post-fight interviews I've ever heard.
Oh yeah,
I love that post-fight
interview. You're getting it.
Great. And I still like Darren Till.
But basically, he's on my list because of the hype. He was supposed to be the shit, and just he fucked off. He like burnt a hotel room down and got stabbed and shit.
And had something with an Uber driver, some crazy with there too. Yeah, there was. Yeah, dude. Yeah,
he burnt a hotel room.
Yeah,
he fucked up an entire hotel room.
No,
he didn't burn it down. He fucked it up real bad.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he got stabbed at some point in his career.
Before his career,
that's
why he moved to Brazil.
He's not.
Right.
He's not.
He had to leave London.
Right.
Yeah. He was involved in London gang bullshit.
Yep.
He's not in my top 10 because I want to hang out with him.
I still like Darren Till.
Oh yeah.
I love Darren Till, to be honest with you.
The gorilla.
But he is a prime example of this fucking list.
Everyone else in my top 10 I could do without.
Bro, but did you? But even I know this is outside of UFC and it's outside of MMA. But did you guys watch his last fight? His boxing match?
I saw that there was a fight after the fight.
Bro, it looked he looked like dog fuck, and then he had the nerve to go and talk
Till
shit.
Looked like dog fuck?
Yeah, and then
he won.
He still looked like dog fuck.
Really?
Yes, and then he had the nerve to go and shit on Duplessis after he beat Izzy, and he was like, "Oh, I know that Drickus beat me, but he needs to do this and this and this to beat Izzy, and I don't think he's going to."
That was before he was giving Drickus or Izzy pointers to beat
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
but then after Drickus beat Izzy,
He started-
he came back on Till and he goes, haha, remember this? Because Drickus went off on everybody. He went off on like 10 different fighters and people who were betting against him and saying that he was going to lose. Brendan Schaub, many other people. And then Darren Till's response was, hey, you still look like dog shit. Your entire style is just completely ridiculous, and you're not a good fighter, but it just somehow works for you. I'm happy for you, but you're still dog shit.
That is literally the definition of Drickus Duplessis.
Yeah.
But Drickus fucked him up. But Drickus fucked him up.
Darren should accept it at this point.
How old is he now? 30 what? 3, 4?
He's pretty young. He's younger.
Oh, he's 31?
Yeah.
God, dude. I did see an interview where he said he's not like ruling out a comeback to MMA out.
Yeah.
He'll come back to MMA, but
I would,
not,
I would
not
love to
UFC.
see the UFC bring him back.
Oh, me too.
Personally.
Well, dude, he's 31.
If he was
man.
serious about it.
Right. If he like actually like,
But he's not doing anything to prove himself outside.
But
of
even if you bring him
UFC.
back, I mean, I know he'll probably want like some money, but like even if you bring him back and he just loses a lot,
Which
I
he
feel
will.
like that still would be
he
a big
needs
deal.
to go fight.
Make
Just
money.
fight in fucking UK somewhere and get some wins and
Cage Warriors.
Right.
Yeah, he will bring the eyes.
6 to you.
Well, we've talked about Darren Till way too long.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
6 to you.
6 to me. Okay. Now this guy, you guys haven't heard me talk much about him.
Oh God.
He's 12-7 in the UFC. He went from an 11-fight win streak to 3-8 in his last 11 fights, and he sucks all the dicks in the world. And it's Chris Weidman. Fuck him.
Chad. Don't say something stupid like Robbie Lawler this time.
Yeah.
My 6 to me, right?
Yeah.
All right, mine is 19-7 in MMA. He's 9-6 in the UFC. He actually won the belt from Robbie Lawler. Tyron
Yeah.
Woodley.
Yeah.
That's a good fall from Chris.
got
He was
knocked out
my-
by,
He went
Jake,
into
Paul.
lose to Usman and then went on to lose 4 straight,
Four
and
straight.
2 of them to be to Jake Paul, and then disappeared.
So he was
No,
my.
he lost 4 straight in the UFC and then 2.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
4 straight to UFC, then 2 to Jake
Oh,
Paul.
To be
I thought
fair,
you- I
he
thought
lost-
you
he
meant
lost
like
to
2.
UFC.
I thought you meant 2 of the 4 being Jake
And the
Paul.
only time I ever rooted for the guy is when Usman just clinched him against the cage and foot stomped him for 5 rounds.
Woodley is.
I had him
yeah.
at 11.
Woodley's on your. Oh.
Dude, I mean, okay.
Woodley's not mine.
Usman, Burns, Covington, Luque.
Again, I'm gonna say it again. He was the champ,
He defended the belt 4
I know,
times.
but I mean,
4 times.
Colby's
and
fought
he
for the,
defended the belt 4 times.
Colby's fought
I know,
for the,
but that's why
Colby's
he
fought for the
shouldn't
belt
be-
twice. Burns has fought for the belt. Usman was the champ.
How about this? Colby right now is
Yeah,
on track.
Usman's in our top 10 champs of all time.
Colby right now is on track to be a bigger fall from grace than Tyron Woodley is right now.
Hear me out. There's guys that have lost the belt and have fought guys that are of championship caliber and beat them and worked their way back to the belt. Like Robert Whitaker, he's winning now. He's on his way back.
He's always been good though.
He couldn't do that.
BJ Penn has had way worse losses than Tyron Woodley.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. BJ's on my list.
Should be.
Exactly.
But whenever he was old.
There's some weirdness on your list.
Me?
Yeah, a little bit.
I've had all-
Robbie Lawler weird.
Mayhem's the only one I haven't had that's not on your guys' list.
but- and he's a good one.
It's just really like,
that you name one that you have that's not on our list.
No. I'm saying Mayhem is the only one that's been on my list that has not been on your guys' list so far. Maybe Luke Rockhold. I don't know if you guys have Luke or not.
No, I
Luke
do
is not on my list.
All right, so 2 then.
I mean, just the names alone. I mean, I know Jake Paul, but I almost don't even count that.
But dude, like
I get what you're saying
Do you
on that.
remember?
Kind of got to though. He knocked
Do
him
you
out
guys
cold.
remember watching these fights? Like after Vicente Luque just got him out of there, like with ease, we were like, dude, Woodley's fucking cooked. Like he's done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he
Yeah.
also did go.
Like he didn't even look like a fucking.
But real quick, as a
But Luque
champ,
hits hard.
as a
he
champion,
darsed him.
as
But
a
he dropped
champion,
him, though, on the
he
feet.
went a full 5 grueling rounds with Kamaru Usman, who is a far better fighter than he is.
Lost unanimous though.
But I know, but he also didn't really take any damage from Kamaru the entire fight. It was a boring ass
That
up
was
against the
before
fucking cage.
Usman was knocking a thing out.
right.
Right, but that was Woodley was like what, number 7 on his 12 fight win streak? 6, whatever.
Yeah.
So that was a killer of Usman. That was a killer monster fighter of Usman.
My last thing on this is, yes, he lost to some great guys, but he didn't even give him like a good fight.
Yeah, he was checked out. He was doing movies.
He was doing that.
He was getting fucked up by raccoons.
Yeah, he got a raccoon bit his dick off in a movie.
He lost the UD to Burns, and he lost in the 5th round against Colby from a rib injury.
And you guys were picking Gilbert Burns to lose to Sean Brady, so suck my dick.
I know, but
I picked him on both counts.
What does that even mean? Like,
it doesn't hold any weight.
By you picking Sean Brady to beat Gilbert Burns means Gilbert Burns isn't very good. I know that's Gilbert Burns of 4 years ago, but I was just trying to make a funny point.
Well, you crash and burn.
Just because I'm picking Sean Brady doesn't mean I don't think Gilbert was good.
I guess. Yeah, it was 4 years ago.
I'm not with this one.
And
at all.
then to go on to Jake Paul twice, a YouTuber.
I gotta agree with John, but I do see your points, and they're not invalid points at all. But he's not on my list.
I guess part of this is probably the fact that when he was champ, I thought he sucked.
Exactly.
It was Chad's.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Woodley's higher on mine.
See, there you go.
I thought he sucked as a champ. I thought he was like the worst
champ.
champ.
That's my whole point.
In the UFC.
Is Woodley is actually like a rise to grace.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. He shouldn't have been as successful as he shouldn't have been as successful as he
Wonder
was.
Boy basically almost beat him twice.
Yeah,
almost.
He had the draw. And
Jake Ellenberger
best
should have beat
non-champs
Tyron.
list of all time. Dylan was like, he basically beat Woodley twice.
He really did.
And now he's like, oh, he almost beat him. Almost.
Well, whatever supports his narrative at the time.
Well, fucking duh. That's how you make an argument, you idiot.
Not if it's no.
Okay, so do I go 5?
Yeah.
Okay, just to be quick, we already talked about him. I have him BJ Penn.
Okay.
Which on my list, I do regret having him here. I probably would have him a couple more spots up. Now looking at my list, I probably have him a couple.
Really?
More. Yeah.
Wow.
Every time we do this, I would switch some shit around for sure.
He's the one guy I was like,
that's what makes this fun. Right. We hear everybody's points and opinions.
John's like, no.
My list is the list.
5 to Seth.
5 to me. Jesus, what is it going to be? Oh, okay. Well, this guy's 6-5 in the UFC. He's 1-5 in his last 6 fights with a split win over Kelvin Gastelum Darren Till. Number 5.
Okay.
And honestly, a lot of the points you made on him is exactly why he's so high on my list. I agree with you 100% on Darren Till.
Yeah, fuck these two.
Yeah, fuck them. They're dumb.
Maybe not Chad. He didn't say a whole lot more so.
Yeah,
I have a hard
John
time.
sucks.
I mean, he lost to good guys, but he might not be done.
But
the odds of him being done, just like the odds of
it's
Connor,
like Connor
being kind of done,
yeah.
It's kind of it's
different.
different. It's different things.
Do you think Till is more likely to come back than Connor, or the other
Oh
way?
yeah.
I love that.
Because
he's been active the whole time.
Till's not coming back.
But
He's
Till
never stopped.
Till needs the money.
But he's also never stopped. He's just been fighting for other organizations.
Okay.
Well, he had one fight after the UFC.
Boxing.
Okay. Well, either way, he's still been in the news and he's still active.
Yeah.
5 to me.
Yep.
Don't look.
I didn't see shit, but I am looking.
Don't look.
I'm creeping over here.
Don't say my 5 because mine's a good one.
Chuck the Iceman.
Lydell.
It's a great one. Not on my list. Should be probably.
Didn't make my list.
Really?
He didn't
The tail end of his career was rough.
Guys, he didn't make my list because I knew it would be on all your lists.
He started getting knocked out by everybody.
I chose my list to try to be a little different, hopefully. And it's not really working out.
And the one that started it, that Rampage knockout, was disgusting.
Yeah, he went from the Iceman to the Ice Chin.
He does bounce back to Vanderlei. And then, honestly, I take it back. The Rashad hook.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking...
Also, Vanderlei can easily be on this list,
he got knocked out 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
The last one was the Tito shit show.
I almost would rather
knockout.
I would rather Woodley lose 6 straight with 2 of them being decisions than 4 straight knockouts in the first round.
I almost put Chuck higher because this guy was literally the face of the UFC for several years.
Yeah.
Right after Tito, it was
And
Tito
then
than him.
he went to just getting face planted every
The
fight.
higher
He was on punks,
He had
dude.
the higher of highs compared to Woodley for sure.
Dak
You're
Shepard, when nobody knew who Dak Shepard was before he
When
even did a
did-
movie, he went and tried to fight Chuck Liddell
When
on
did
that
he-
show, essentially.
What?
Did he?
He tried to get Chuck Liddell so mad that Chuck Liddell would assault him, and Chuck Liddell almost did, and that's when the crew jumped in, and Ashton Kutcher was like, "You're unpunked. This is all going south really fast. This is Chuck Liddell. You're a psycho." Like, Chuck Liddell almost knocked out fucking Dak Shepard on
Holy
MTV.
shit!
I think part of the problem with Chuck too, and I think maybe why he should be on this list is because his delusions in his brain.
Dylan, check this out.
He thinks he can beat John Jones.
There he is.
Yeah.
That
That's
was
just the-
Right now,
I
he
think
thinks he can beat John
I think that
Jones.
adds to the fall
Alright,
from grace part.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
hold
yeah,
on,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
He knocked out Captain America for the belt and then defended it 1, 2, 3, 4 times after that.
Chuck Liddell's only meals are soup from straws these days.
I did not know. I mean, I know he was on my top champs list, but goddamn, he defended the belt. What I say 4 times before losing to?
He was in your top 10?
I think he was. I could be wrong on that.
It's
hope
Chuck
not.
chicken noodle
He defended the
soup
belt
Liddell.
4 times.
Oh yeah, that doesn't mean much
I guess
compared to champs.
that's craziness. He might not have been. I have to go look.
No,
but
listen, he's a good guy to have on this list.
Thank
I'm
you.
not going to rag that.
Thanks.
He's not on mine though.
He's not on mine either.
He's still to come on mine.
Okay. It was just the face of the UFC at one point.
Oh, yeah, he
was
for a
huge.
long
He was
time.
huge.
I am not
Dude, the
arguing.
fucking mohawk with the Chinese tattoo on the side of his head that no one knows what the fuck it means.
Means probably he doesn't know what it means. you know that
He
for
used
real
to
though.
know.
Fucking Kenpo karate,
But,
dude. Like, come on.
My dad did
the
Kenpo.
pit.
Yeah, the pit.
The fucking.
You know what
pit.
Kenpo is
Hackleman.
all about? It's all about disarming an armed assailant and breaking their bones as fast as you can and walking away from the fight. That's what
that
the whole
translates
martial art is.
exactly to
Kenpo.
the UFC.
Yeah, 100%.
That's
What do you
exactly
mean?
what you do in the UFC.
Yeah, but like there's
No,
move.
I'm kidding.
break
It's
the wrist
not.
wall.
at all.
Okay, I
way.
was gonna say, what are you talking about? Yeah, no. The Kenpo is all about literally disarming, injuring, and walking away.
All right,
That's what the whole art is about.
Let's get these going a little bit.
Is it 5 to me?
5 to you.
Okay, this is a deep cut.
Oh, no.
Now, this is a fall from grace that it technically started in the UFC, but it got a lot worse after the UFC
Okay.
for quite a few years.
Okay.
Wait, give me more hints. Hold on.
You-
Give me
you
more
know,
hints.
you
Give me
know.
more hints.
Well, this guy went on to he had 2 stints in Bellator after the UFC and won it in one.
Oh, did he used to play football?
Nope.
No,
Oh.
football.
Matt Mitrione.
No.
Okay.
Roger Huerta,
Oh, wow. Interesting.
and I'll tell you why.
He was on a lot of.
He beat Clay
comparative
Guida.
So,
He was 19-1-1. Actually, that made him 21-1.
right.
And then, okay, this isn't bad.
Dude, Huerta was the man for a while.
And that's a big part
or
of
was
this.
supposed to be.
A big part of this is he was on the come up. He dated fucking Ariani
Yes.
at one point.
He's a gorgeous man.
Litter Garcia is not a bad win either.
No,
was-
absolutely not.
He was 21-1. Okay, loses UD to Kenflo, not a big deal.
That's fine.
Lose a split to Gray Maynard.
That's also fine.
not a big deal.
Dre
Le-
Maynard's he's the split
Shit.
guy.
He's shit.
leaves the UFC, goes to Bellator.
Who the fuck
Oh.
is Chad Hinton?
He beats Chad Hinton.
Who's
exactly. Yeah.
He was 8-0.
Loses-
Knee bar in the first minute. I
He
mean,
get-
who is that?
he
Oh,
lo-
round three.
round.
Round three. All right,
He
never mind.
loses to Pat Curran, Eddie Alvarez, War Machine,
R.I.P.
well,
Kinda.
and then gets soccer.
rib injury though.
He gets soccer kicked by Zora
That one?
Babel Mariah Jr.
That is so violent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It
gruesome.
is. The ref is like telling him no, like
Yeah.
don't kick him.
Yeah.
And guess what? He punts his head anyways.
Right. Who is Christian Hawley? Who the fuck is that?
Exactly.
He beat him.
Like,
Fuck him.
He was 10-0 at that point, I guess. But
Wow.
okay, I mean, he beats Hyder Hassan. He was on Tough at one time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then he comes back to Bellator and loses 4 straight, all 3 of the 4
My-
finishes.
Nothing wrong with Patricky
God.
though. Nothing wrong with the loss to Benson Henderson or Patricky.
Yeah, but
Those-
still, dude.
yeah, no, I get it.
It's just tough because the whole thing is he was 21-1.
Okay, so okay, so you don't like the Darren
he's like
Till one. This is very Darren Till-esque.
Yeah.
It was all about the hype built around him.
Yeah.
It was, but Darren Till's losses are like 3 in a row.
4?
4. This guy, I mean,
Yeah, but is it really like?
It's 4 in a row.
It's a fall.
twice.
It's a fall. You want to fight in the UFC, and you kept fighting shitty guys outside the UFC and losing.
yeah, exactly.
But Till at least kept losing inside the UFC.
I think that's way better.
But he won a lot more in the UFC. So, like,
He wasn't 21-1.
he was really good in something.
I daren't. I mean, Huerta. To your point, I guess Roger Huerta didn't reach the hype of Darren
Not-
Till.
he didn't
but
reach the name
close.
This was a
value.
different era.
Not
It's
even-
about name.
yeah.
It's about name value, but yeah, the era does.
He
matter.
kind of was probably similar. If we
Like time for time?
I mean, if you
And
kind
also,
of
you gotta, we one thing that we're not really taking into account here is pre-social media careers.
yeah.
It's a good point, too.
that's
This
a,
was-
that's a huge fucking.
Did
This
Darren
was
Till
pretty-
date a ring card girl? Let me ask you that.
He probably fucked one.
Dana fucks them all.
Speculation.
Roger Huerta dated Prime Ariani.
That's
Prime
pretty,
Ariani was undefeated at this point.
that's pretty sick.
Fall from grace. She could be on the list
Ariani,
too.
yeah.
But,
Fucked Roger Huerta. What a loser.
but yeah, I mean,
That's a good
I
one.
almost think it's worse that you leave the UFC and then get killed by everybody.
I think
get
this
it,
is
I
a
get it,
great
I get it.
one that should absolutely be on this list. I think that's super high on your list, though.
That was a lot on a lot of comparative lists like that
Yeah,
I've seen.
yeah.
He was on there.
yeah.
21 and
So,
1. All right.
That was 5
Wait.
for you? No, that was
We-
5.
So I
You're
go 4. Chuck Liddell.
Okay. 4 to me. We all know him. We all used to love him.
Are you sure?
We hope he doesn't fight anymore. Tony Ferg.
4.
4.
4.
Oh.
Ouch.
Guys, he never won the belt.
So
He never won the belt.
I mean, interim, right? Or
There was
he
never-
He
supposed
never
to-
won the belt, but he
supposed
was
to
the
fight.
interim champion. He was
Just-
supposed to
Dylan,
fight
that's
for the
way
belt.
too low.
When you hear my maybe not my 2 because you guys are gonna shit up, but 1 and 3, it'll make sense.
I just think, I mean, this one is pretty cut and dry. It's like,
Yeah.
what was
Right.
it, 12 fight
That's-
win streak
I
versus
literally
7 fight losing
Listen,
streak?
I put
this,
down on my notes. Record speaks for itself.
Yeah.
this one is cut and dry. Not even only between us, but all the casuals in MMA.
This is another narrative
It's
one
just-
for sure, too.
But it's also not just narrative, though. It's look at that. Nobody else has 8 losses in a row.
that's wild.
Nobody has 8 losses.
But
in a
here's
row.
the thing, though,
BJ
just-
Penn has 7.
Just because he lost 8 in a row doesn't automatically mean he should be like 1, 2, or 3. In my opinion,
Oh, he's number 1.
because he didn't have like
number 1, Daddy.
he had all those wins in a row. Yes, for sure.
But the thing is he
Dude, the
he
win streak
almost
was
fought
good,
for a-
though.
He never
almost
got.
streak-
He never got the shot.
he almost fought for a
The
belt
thing
because
is,
they got
the
canceled.
reason why
They got
I think
canceled
he
4
should be
times in
higher,
Khabib.
which I mean he is higher on my
He
list.
tripped over cords.
He should be higher
One
was
of the
because
4 times.
he was literally the boogeyman, like literally the scariest dude in the division that was supposed to fight for the belt,
Look
but
at-
didn't because of fucking stupid
Look at his
shit.
Cords.
Look at his
Cords,
That was
injuries,
one
and
out
shit
of the
like that.
4 canceled bouts. 2 of them were Khabib not making weight, and look at the 12 faces of death.
Yeah, I
on the
was saying,
motherfucking
just
guy.
that picture kind of sums it up.
He's number 1, Dylan.
No, he is not number 1.
He beat Cowboy
Yeah, he is.
Pettis, Kevin Lee, RDA.
Hold on, go up a little bit. When did the losses start? So 2020. So 4 years ago, he was 36 when he started losing.
He was 12
He's 40 now.
in a row, and then he lost.
Again,
8
this is
in a
another
row.
narrative thing, I think. Like, everyone was like,
For
Tony's
me-
like the fucking
No, listen,
crazy
he's the
fuck.
most
Connor
feared
dodged
dude.
him at Connor's best.
For me, he started losing at an older age, at 36 years old.
I mean,
It's not like he lost like in his fucking prime in the middle of all that
Even
shit.
and
but
also-
even though he lost,
He's
he was
older than
still
shit.
he was the most feared dude.
and
He
also,
was. There's no
lost.
doubt about it.
most feared Tony Ferguson?
because you can't kill the guy.
you can't.
He was the
Khabib
at the
didn't even
time
really
he was
wanna fight
supposed to
him.
fight Khabib. He was
You
literally
can't kill
the
him,
guy nobody
and
wanted to
he
fight.
could go like 25 rounds.
and the easiest way to
Easy.
success to beat him was arguably his best defensive game.
Why he's not higher on my list is because he started losing at such an old age.
That makes sense. I get that.
I get that.
Like,
I
yeah,
get
he
that,
lost 8
but that's
in a row,
not,
but
that's
the
not
losses
enough.
started at 36 years old.
I just think he's way too low.
This
on
is
your list,
just
bub.
this is for me.
Against prime, the best of the best. But yeah,
I'm
he was
interested to see who's
Yeah.
above him.
My thing is like it's just the streak with the names on the streak versus the losing streak. Like
Also-
it's just such a crazy like black and white like switch.
But also, let's go on the other side of it. Outside of the cage antics, the guy's getting fucking beating up fireplaces,
Hates fireplaces.
getting a bunch of
hitting
getting like
four cars.
four cars, multiple DWIs, hitting his wife, getting a restraining order against his own wife. Like the guy was falling
And
off.
also-
He was falling off on every aspect of his life, not just his career.
he basically knew that everyone on planet Earth thinks he should retire, and so he like
Still did it 3 fights ago.
Like the Chiesa one. He was like,
3
I'm gonna
fights
lay
ago, he should have
one
retired.
glove down.
Yeah, he's half.
But
Yeah,
like everyone knows, he doesn't want to retire. Like he doesn't.
You know
want
what's funny about
Yeah.
all that shit you just said about the fireplace and the wife and the cars and DUIs and all that shit?
right. What?
He's never had a break in his like fights, basically. Like there was never an obvious time off.
Well, he's
Well,
had
except
had
for
injuries.
when he got injury from the Khabib,
Yeah,
there's
That was an
2-year
ACL
layoff.
tear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
but
2-year layoff.
yeah.
That was like from a blown knee, though.
But 2
but
years
that,
is
that
a
wasn't
long-
because of what he was saying.
But 2
I
years.
think, anyways.
No. Yeah. No. What? Wait. What do you mean?
The DUI, the fireplace, calling
Right.
his wife
like
a
he
witch.
didn't take a break.
He didn't
from
take
that.
off because of those things.
Oh, I see.
Didn't he fight like a month after his DUI or some
Yeah.
shit?
I know, but you know what? That's kind of favoritism within the UFC to allow him to fight because UFC has not let a lot of guys fight for less.
Well, I don't know if it's so much the UFC not letting them. I think it's the person in question whether they want to fight or not.
It's their brain.
Right, right. Tony, yeah.
I mean,
Tony would come here and fight all
the-
4 of us
but-
for free.
But dude, how about this? How about this? They cut Violent Bob Ross because he beat up his wife.
But
Okay.
if it's fireplace, okay.
But Tony didn't ever actually put
Yeah,
hands
see,
on his wife.
yeah, he
I
did.
thought he just beat up a fireplace.
She put a
and-
restraining order on him because he put hands on her.
but I thought,
and she took custody of his kid.
well,
Well, they're back.
Yeah, they're back. They're back. But you know that just goes to her stupidity.
Yeah.
That's that ain't nothing's changed for Tony.
number 4 to you. This is
Christ
going, we're
almighty.
going to be doing this till fucking forever.
Yeah.
Number 4, big one, hasn't been talked about yet. Thank God, finally.
Really?
Fuck my ass. First one not talked about so far. 7-4 in the UFC. He's 1-4 in his last 5 fights with a win over Jacoby Dominic Reyes.
No, that's stupid.
Why is
I-
that stupid? Why is it stupid?
He
That's
almost
That's a
he almost got into my top 10, but
Why is it stupid?
It's,
He's-
The
an
guy
ancient.
arguably beat the greatest of all time, hands down. Arguably, almost everybody thinks so. And then ever since then, he's been fucking losing.
but he just had he has a knockout win his last fight.
I think
It doesn't hold any weight with me.
It's stupid.
It's Dustin Jacoby, who's never going to do anything.
it's stupid
He's a forgettable fighter.
to me because I hate when you say that because
Dustin Jacoby is
Keep
not.
going. I'm going to.
oh, Jacoby is.
Yes, not Dominic. Jacoby is a forgettable fighter that he got to win over.
Yeah, I mean he's also Jacoby's been top 15 and shit, so I feel like he's kind of up there.
When Dom was what, top 3 for how long? Long time.
I personally, I think Reyes is still he's got a career left ahead of him. He's 34 years old,
We'll see.
and he just
Yeah, what
a
do you mean?
knockout
Are
win.
you saying that's young?
Yeah, I mean he just won by knockout in the UFC against a guy who's been in the top 15.
Okay, well, we've already had somebody on this list that their last fight was a win by knockout.
Not UFC's top 15.
That's fair. He's definitely belongs on this list.
I
I
mean,
don't know what you guys are talking about. We have literally check every other fucking podcast we have done in the last 6 months. We have talked about his fall off. Literally, even Dylan was like, "Geez, is there anybody who's fallen off harder than that guy?" He literally said those words on a podcast not that long ago.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and deny that he hasn't had a fall off,
I understand,
but he's not on my list.
I understand his losses are against some majorly good guys
John Jones,
besides Ryan Spann.
Jan, Yuri Prohaska.
Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann is not even on the level of the Yuri and the Jan and the John. But I'm kind of putting this because of I don't see any success in his future. I think he might squeak out another win here or there, but it's not going to put him back into contention. It's not going to put him back into where he was. He will never be where he was ever again.
I think he will.
I
personally.
think his chin is done, bro. And I think it just didn't get tested against Jacoby. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, even when Chuck Liddell's chin was gone, he still got a win in there.
Yeah.
I will say,
everybody's list is everybody's list.
I think Dominic Reyes makes more sense than Robbie Lawler.
I can agree with that.
Thank you. Now, you can start right there, by the way. Let me finish my last thing saying this about Dominic, and I know you guys all disagree that he's this high on my list. The point being is from the get-go,
Keep going.
from the get-go, the whole
You're sharp one.
point of that's fucked.
Head and arm.
I picked against him.
I did too. Shabazian was beating his ass and then gassed out.
All right, Seth, go ahead.
God damn it. My biggest reason for putting Dominic this high on my list is because it really boils down, this list boils down to the highest of the highs to the lowest of the lows. The man arguably beat, gun to everybody's head in all of the world, if anybody watches that fight, the man arguably beat the greatest fighter of all time who's never been beaten. And that's it. That's and had everything, you know, gone the way it probably should have, and there's zero fuckery involved, he would have been the only man to ever beat John Jones, and he would have been champ.
Yep.
Right?
He got knocked out 3 times in a row.
And then he got destroyed, and he's never even looked half as good. Dude, even all of his wins before, forget potentially or probably beating John Jones. Everybody he beat before that, he was slaying everyone.
It's a good point. I mean,
slaying
look
everyone.
Look at the run there. Cannoneer, who is the main event tonight.
Yeah.
OSP.
Chris Weidman.
Vulcan Ozdemir, and then fucking Weidman.
He was slaying them, making them. He was outclassing them, destroying them.
You're selling me on this a little bit.
Let me keep going. Shut up, John. Scroll down, John. Scroll down.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness. Look at all them W's. Listen to me. He outclassed and destroyed every one of these people, even if it was unanimous decision
Look
win.
at the round one.
Even if it was a decision win, he was fucking these people up. Absolutely fucking everyone
Fucked up Vulcan Ozdemir by split decision.
My point being, I don't care. You can find your like one little thing right there. The point is you know I'm right. The guy was unstoppable. Nobody wanted to fuck with him. John Jones did not want to fight him. He was forced to fight him. And
what do you know? John Jones not wanting to fight somebody. Whoa.
Still, he had to, though. And he was fighting the most dangerous John Jones ever, who had just fucking knocked out DC. For Christ's sakes. Arguably, Dominic Reyes beat arguably one of the best versions of John Jones.
I think.
But he didn't, as time says. But ever since then, he's been getting clocked and knocked out fucking cold and snoring on the canvas.
The only reason he did not, like, let's say his career ended with Ryan Spann knocking him out.
Yep.
He is 1,000,000% on my list. But the fact that he came back and knocked out Dustin Jacoby.
Okay. Oh, Dustin Jacoby. Whoa.
I disagree.
Listen to me. How about if Carlos Ulberg did not get canceled twice? Do you think that Carlos Ulberg is going to lose to Dominic Reyes? Or do you think that Carlos Ulberg would have knocked him out cold?
Speculation.
You don't know that. Speculation.
Okay, sure. We're not in a courtroom, boys.
I picked Jacoby to win because of the streak he was on.
The streak that Jacoby was on.
No, the streak that Dom was on.
The losing. Okay, so you're with
he
me.
knocked him the fuck out. So
I know,
like, to pick Ulberg to win automatically, you can't do that.
Well,
Chad.
The reason why Dom is not on my list is because I don't think his high of highs was very high at all.
Right.
The highest part of him was that he arguably beat Jones. That was it.
Shut up.
It wasn't the fact. Sure, he went on 3 good wins, or 4 good wins, I should say. The 4 good wins right there with Cannoneer, OSP, Ozdemir, and Weidman.
And that's an OSP who took John Jones to the distance, by the way.
I get you, but he went there. He wasn't a superstar. He wasn't like this boogeyman that everybody was afraid.
There's no name value on him.
He had zero hype.
He had zero hype. And then he went and fought Jones.
But what does that mean?
And then that's because it's from grace. Your grace is this
Who said
high.
Johnny Hendricks, though?
Huh?
I had him.
I had Johnny Hendricks.
His claim to fame was almost beating GSP. What's the difference?
Thank you.
Johnny Hendricks
Dominic
won
Reyes
the belt.
never won the belt.
Johnny Hendricks won the belt.
I know, but Johnny Hendricks shouldn't have won the belt.
Why?
Because
Johnny Hendricks
for the same reason why John Jones.
Robbie Lawler.
In the first round, right?
Yeah, he knocked out Robbie Lawler.
Okay.
That was for the belt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait.
No,
Are we
Johnny
getting that
Hendricks won it vacant title against Robbie.
Vacant.
Thank you. I knew there was something
He still beat a guy, Robbie Lawler,
I get
over
it.
the
I
belt.
get it. I get it. I will.
No, but beating John Jones and beating Robbie Lawler are two different things.
But the thing is, Johnny Hendricks has a dub on his record
for a belt.
and Dominic Reyes has an L on his record.
I understand, and look, that's all valid, and that's a good counter argument. But this list, I don't think, is necessarily about whether or not you've been a champion or not.
No, it's not just about, but it's about the highest of highs, and the highest of highs is winning the belt, defending it, and then falling from that.
This is my opinion, real quick. Dominic Reyes almost beating John Jones, arguably beating him in most of our minds.
Most everyone
holds more weight than Johnny Hendricks beating Robbie Lawler for a vacant belt.
So like
beats a former champ.
Here, let me put it this way.
Was one of
Robbie
your guys'
wasn't a
favorite
champ.
fighters
Robbie,
of all time?
Real quick.
Robbie was he wasn't a champ before that.
Real quick, let me get this out.
Robbie won the belt after that.
Let me get this out.
Robbie beat Johnny for the belt. Came back and
No, I thought you said Johnny just beat
Johnny beat
Robbie
for the vacant belt.
But then Robbie won it again.
Won it against Johnny the next time.
Guys,
but
hold on. He's on my list. I picked him. He's not on anybody else's list. Let me get this point.
He almost made mine.
Okay, but he's not. Nobody else is going to say Dominic?
No.
Nobody? Okay, good. Hold on. Even the guys who fought John Jones before, a perfect example, Alexander Gustafsson, he said, look, before he fought Jones the second time, he said, it is more important to me and a lot of people in my weight division to beat John Jones more than it is to be a champion of the world, to get the belt. The one guy who actually did beat John Jones and didn't get the belt somehow, because that's just the way the cookie crumbles in the UFC. It's like the highest of the highs is not because you were champion. The highest of the highs is beating the pound for pound greatest fighter on the planet Earth in our to date. The baddest man to ever roam this planet that we know in the history books, period, is John Jones, and he fucking pretty much beat him.
The only shitty part
So
about
where
that
would
is
you
that
rank like a guy that beat one of the GOATs at one
See,
time?
if he would have actually won.
What
if he won and then
he's number one.
But listen,
then he's number one.
If he beat John Jones and had these same losses, and
he's
shit,
number one.
Question.
He's
So
number one.
what if a guy like that beat a GOAT? Okay, now just work with me here. I'm just throwing this out.
Matt Serra
Like a
versus
Matt
GSP.
Serra beat GSP.
Okay.
He beat the GOAT.
Okay.
What would he not have a fall from grace if he beat the GOAT?
Sure,
I mean,
but
Matt-
he would.
He had
Matt Serra had a little
Matt
bit
Serra
of,
had a run himself,
Yeah.
fighting guys that are on our top 10 list of all time.
Who?
GSP, Matt Hughes, guys like that.
He didn't. Did he beat Matt Hughes?
No, he fought Matt
Yeah,
Hughes.
he
I'm just
fought.
saying
Oh,
he fought.
fought. Okay.
I think Dom is a case of more so how he lost after he almost beat the GOAT,
And how he has never lost before ever in his career.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, like look at Matt Serra on the rematch. What happened?
right.
Yeah.
Destroyed.
Got destroyed.
Round one.
I didn't have him this high because I actually, honestly, personally think that he's not done. And
Right.
that's my opinion. But
I think that now I didn't a fight ago.
I mean, I picked him against Jacoby. I
You
think
did.
I think he can still knock some people out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
No, I mean he's still. I mean he's not old.
Was
I
he
still
how
do
old
it.
is he now? 30 what?
Four.
I
Four?
think he might be able to finish some guys that aren't really going
He's only
to.
34 at 205. Like,
Do you guys think that he's going to fight for the belt again?
not necessarily, but
John,
who
I
the
think he
fuck
might.
knows? Who
I
the
think he
fuck
might.
knows? At
John,
205, pretty
he
shallow.
You think that he's going to fight for the belt again?
I mean, he gets killed by Rakic because Rakic is my guy, but
So no.
205.
Look at me and be honest.
Probably
Do you
not.
think he fights for the belt again?
probably not.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean
Chad?
that they're done. That doesn't
Does
mean
he-
that they're done.
It means that they're done enough to make it on my list.
That's your
No.
list.
You
All
get
right.
it. Yeah, your list.
Where we at?
4 to me.
4 to Chadley.
Hurry up.
Okay, 4 to me.
Yeah, hurry.
This person is 12-2
The mountain
in
goat.
MMA.
12-2.
6-2 in the UFC.
Hard for me to imagine this being a fall from grace.
Yeah, same. This is going
It's
to
a
be this
big fall
is
from
gonna be
grace.
stupid.
Is this
is gonna
Robbie
be
Lawler
so
Sr.?
stupid.
Ronda Rousey.
Oh.
Literally put women's MMA on the map.
I'm
women's MMA on the map.
This is a good fall from grace.
She is not on my list, and I'm upset that she is not. That is a
literally
great.
Did everything. Was everybody was
John,
on her
head,
job.
John.
Yeah, you're being
everything.
No,
she lost to Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes.
Yes,
that's
right.
it.
But listen, the heights.
She was the superstar.
Chris Cyborg
in the UFC.
She ducked Chris Cyborg her entire career. No matter what point in her career, if she would have fought Chris Cyborg, that would have been her first loss. It could have been a last loss. Could have been in between Holly and Amanda.
Guys, we got people like Johnny Hendricks who went on to he probably owns a gas station in fucking Oklahoma. And we're talking about a WWE superstar who only lost twice.
Johnny did not even come close to what Ronda did.
The stardom of Ronda.
And then you get knocked out.
She's still a star.
My boyfriend
now.
over there.
She's still a star right now.
A star in the UFC? Absolutely not. She's not.
A star in the public eye.
That doesn't matter.
A fall from grace from the UFC.
This is absolutely a fall from grace.
Yes.
It is. Whether big or not.
You get head kicked, knocked out in a fight that you were probably a minus 1,000 fucking favorite against Holly Holm.
Not to mention, you're one of the most hated fighters of all time.
You take a year off and then get fucking put out in 48 fucking seconds.
She's still a celebrity.
That doesn't matter.
Oh yeah,
I mean, but like Mayhem Miller, like he was a celebrity and now he's not. He's a nobody.
Let me put it this way: a fall from grace is technically got to be from the eyes of the people watching, right? The fans.
Exactly.
Well, these
right. Okay. Everyone hates Ronda Rousey, and she was the first women's champ, and she did all these bullshit accolades and all these things,
but
right?
She's still like super famous.
So is Connor though. You didn't have a problem.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Yeah.
No, I mean, I had him at 23.
You at least had him in the conversation though.
Ronda Rousey is an absolute fall from grace in more ways than we can imagine.
I like this.
The fact that she was literally a champ, destroyed everybody she fought until she fought Holly Holm and got head kicked.
Round
one.
And then proceeded to was Amanda Nunes.
We did not know
Amanda Nunes was not we didn't know
she wasn't
a household like goat women's
she
goat
hadn't even fought at UFC 200 yet.
I mean, she literally went on from this to win like $1 million.
Well, yeah, but we didn't know that at the time.
We know now,
right?
Well, yeah,
we
but
didn't know that.
You can't
we're doing the list right now.
No,
I agree.
He's right about that. He is right about this argument. I
get what you're saying.
He's right
with
about
Amanda.
that argument.
Yes, Amanda's the GOAT of her said division and everything.
Here's the point.
What I'm saying is that the height that Ronda had, the superstardom that she was at, she's the person that put women's MMA on the map.
She's second behind Connor, in my opinion.
But
the highest of stars,
right,
yes.
Right.
I think, John, you're discrediting this just because she only has 2 L's on her book.
Right, I agree.
And also, but also, she's like still a fucking huge deal.
I'm talking about the fall from grace from the UFC.
She lost 2
from MMA community.
She disappeared.
Yeah, literally.
She's on a farm right now.
Literally lost to Holly and Amanda and completely disappeared.
Who cares?
I mean, that's still
fall from grace in the UFC.
And guess what?
I get it.
Guess what? She's shunned and she's hated by all the pro wrestling fans too for the same reason.
There's guys that were nobodies in comparison to Ronda Rousey who went on worse losing streaks, and there's people that were on the same stardom level as Ronda Rousey and went on worse losing streaks.
Who?
Which one?
Starting level.
The
stardom level?
As big a star as her.
Connor.
That's the only one.
Okay, so he's not on Chad's list, but he's
on my list.
He's been higher and has lost more. And then you got guys.
The only reason I didn't
like Thomas
do that,
Almeida who were nobodies and lost more.
You can't compare Ronda.
Both of them are on my list. Connor and Thomas are on my list.
I'm just saying, like you got both sides of it. You got guys that were less and lost more. Tony Ferguson, Henan Barrow, and you got people who were more and lost more.
I agree with you on that. I agree on that. I agree on that.
Connor's the only one.
So I'm just saying, like, if we're talking star power plus losing streaks, there has been more than that. If we're talking about less star power and bigger losing streaks, there's more.
If you're going by that, Connor should be on Chad's list as well.
But the only thing, my difference argument against that is Ronda has completely disappeared from the MMA community at all. Like, literally, in any facet. Connor, right now, even though he has just had a fall from grace, You know, he's not fighting, he's inactive, but he's still the highest UFC draw that they have in their pocket. He's the ace up the sleeve,
and he's still everything. He still can and probably
now,
will fight.
If Ronda were to come back, there is an argument she could have it, but she's not.
There's no way.
She's been so literally disappeared. She's shunned herself. She's excommunicado. I mean, she's gone.
Yeah, but even if she didn't want to be, she'd get slammed in the UFC.
Oh
today. She would get wrecked.
I can't stand this one, but let's move on.
So 3 to me.
I like this.
Well,
Chad.
you just did 4. So
Yeah. So
Chad,
3
like
to me. Okay,
good on you, Chad.
No,
I'm not mad at Chad. Not mad at Chad.
Horrible.
Not mad at celebrity.
Okay, so 3.
Doesn't matter.
She lost 2 fights.
Ronda sucks dick. How about that?
Doesn't matter.
I mean, I agree. I hate her.
She sucks ass.
No, she's a cunt.
She lost 2 fights. We've been talking about guys that lost like fucking 27 fights.
She's a huge cunt.
Yeah, but we're fall from grace in the MMA community. Can you talk like a bigger one?
Yeah, it's tough.
In the MMA community, bigger than Ronda, a person who's disappeared.
You can't.
I will talk about it.
You can't. Go ahead, Chad.
Okay, so number 3.
Let's get this shit going. Go.
Number 3 for me, guys. 34-10 in MMA.
Have we talked about him yet?
No.
Okay,
that's a lot.
I just mentioned him. I think
34-10 in MMA, 9-8 in the UFC.
Oof.
He won the belt from Uriah Faber.
Yep. I just said it.
Yeah. Heenan Barrow.
Yeah.
This one's tough.
Yeah. Heenan's good.
He wasn't he like 20 something in one or 30? He was like 30 in one.
Yeah, how padded is all hell.
He literally, he defended the title 4 times.
Everybody beats
until
Uriah.
He lost to Ipio Asha.
Everybody beats Uriah.
He went 2
and then literally
7.
lost 10 of his last 12.
How about this?
That.
If Uriah Faber would have gotten the champ even once, he would be at the top 3 of all of our lists.
After losing to Dillashaw, he lost 10 of his last 12.
He was 32 in one.
He went 2 and 7 in the UFC after losing.
Yeah, but do we really need to go back and look at his 20 wins before that? I mean, come on.
No, but Heenan Barrow,
Uriah Faber. Who's that?
I've never heard of him.
Eddie Wineland.
Brad Pickett. Faber is in my honorable mentions only because he got to the belt so many times and just could not fucking do it.
I have not heard of Scott Jorgensen in a minute.
Young Guns.
Vitiligo, boy.
We talked about him twice on the.
Scott Jorgensen always.
We talked about it. We talked about him twice on the Tommy Toll.
Oh,
you weren't here for
that.
that.
John kind of low-key like Scott Jorgensen.
Well, in here he sucks. He sucks. Look at that thing.
Yeah, I love that.
But also Barrow. I mean, I guess go ahead.
We're gonna talk about Barrow.
We want to watch fights. So let's get this going.
We're going to talk about Barrow more.
Yeah, Heenan Barrow for me, that was just his record, then losing, and then going on that big of a skid.
And also, real quick, I'm going to bring him up next as well. But look, so UFC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Aljo sucks, so that doesn't matter.
And then he loses an exhibition MMA fight for, I don't even know what that says.
Samao.
Chad, help me out.
Samao
Pajito.
Yeah, maybe
Pajoto.
And then loses the Farah Championship. Split decision, 7 months ago?
Yeah.
8 months ago?
Pejoto is how you say that.
Split decision against guys 12-5.
So you go from being the champ,
defending it 4 times,
to doing that, and you're only 37,
and yet he's got more wins in the UFC than losses.
This is another guy.
Barely though.
This is another guy that fought a million times outside the UFC.
Yeah,
but he won them all though.
I mean, he did, but Rong Zhu fought a lot outside.
Yeah.
It's crazy how BJ Penn, arguably top 5 greatest of all time, is 12-13, and this guy's 9-8.
No, fuck the Prodigy. 3
That's crazy.
3
to me. Okay, number 3 for me is a guy we have not talked about yet.
Fuck.
Damn it.
And you guys know who I'm probably going to bring up.
I don't. I just
you don't. You don't?
Give us a hint.
He should be on your fucking guys' list. For fuck sure he should.
Hurry.
He's 5-6 in the UFC. He's on a 7-fight losing streak, and his name is Marlon Moraes.
Good one. That's a good one.
I got him.
And he was a
world
beater before he started losing.
He's in my honorable mentions.
He was same.
How is he not on your guys' list? None of you?
Because my other 2 are higher.
He almost made
Marlon Moraes is a prime example of fall from grace.
Oh no, I'm not saying he's not.
Jesus Christ. It blows my mind that he's not even a 10 for you guys.
That's why it's your list.
Yeah, but
He
come
almost.
on.
Oh my!
Yeah, come on, guys.
Lord.
Come on. Give me a break.
He
Rob, come on. I don't care. I get it.
No,
Corey
I'm not
Sandhagen,
saying it's a
Rob
bad one.
Font, Marab, Song Yadong. I don't know who that
Exactly.
one is.
Shaman Moraes. Nobody knows who that is.
These are on PFL.
Who
He got
cares?
he got
Whatever. Yeah,
finished
but
in
we're
all of
not.
them.
But we haven't been doing strictly UFC this
No,
entire time.
no.
I
We're
am
not-
just stating a fact that it is
Oh,
in PFL.
okay. I thought you were going against me.
No,
here.
not at all. He's
But-
0-3 in the PFL.
My thing here is that he reached less higher heights than most people. Like
That's fair. But
did he might have fought for the belt in the UFC.
no,
did he?
dude. No, he was right. Yeah, Henry Cejudo.
That was for the belt. Vacant. Yeah.
That
Yes.
was
Trust me,
that was the one
Marlon
shot.
Moraes
That was
was-
the one shot.
Guys, he
No,
was.
he was a bad motherfucker.
He's a
fucking-
killer.
And then
gotta
all of a sudden he lost his cardio
Oh,
and his chin at the same time. It was crazy.
We all loved this fight. The Aljo flying knee knockout. That was
yes.
great.
Oh,
that was
yes,
great.
It was. Yes,
I
it
enjoyed
was.
that one.
Oh, we loved it so much, don't we? Oh, I want to watch that right now.
And I will say, Jimmy Rivera in 2018.
great fighter.
That's a good knockout.
Great fighter.
Jimmy
in
Rivera was
33
21-1 at that point.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. I cannot believe.
No, Jimmy Rivera was. I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but he
He
either
beat
way,
him.
He beat him. He
Yeah.
beat him. How is Marlon not on your list, John?
He's 14.
He's in my HMs.
Same.
You guys are a little crazy for not putting him in your 10.
Number 3
Not
to
gonna lie to
me.
you.
Yeah.
Chad just talked about him. Hannon Burrell.
Okay, cool. Next.
3 is Weidman.
Next.
3 Weidman for you?
God damn that.
And
high?
I love how high that is.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
high.
he sucks so much dick. But also, I don't love how high that is because that means that you're saying that he's a good fighter and he sucks.
Number 2 to you.
Hennon Burrell.
Unless you.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, here we go.
2 to Dylan.
2 to me. You guys are gonna hate it that I have him this high. The
Connor.
Mizzou boy,
Chandler?
Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
too high, buddy.
I don't think it is.
It's not with
That's
you there.
pretty high.
Not with
He
you.
won the belt, lost
Nah.
4 straight, lost 2 boxing matches, and he nothing.
If he was at 5, if he was
He
at
got
5,
Jake
I
Paul
wouldn't.
tattooed on his hand.
If he was at 5,
If
I wouldn't
that's
be
real.
mad.
If that was real.
I
don't
think he actually
No.
did it.
He got
No.
I love Jake
Yeah,
Paul
he-
tattooed on the palm of his hand.
No, he said no because half of it was Sharpie, some of it
The
was
really annoying thing is he
actual
literally
tattoo.
commentated Jake's last fight.
Yeah, it's even more deserving of this list.
I mean, but that's
Commentate a
that's
guy
like-
that knocked
that's
you
a-
out twice his fight.
I mean, Hennon Burrell's not commentating boxing.
I would let somebody knock me out.
You're going
right
more
now
off
for
the celebrity and what
$5
they're
million.
like able to do
after
fighting.
Tyron lost
Yeah,
to
I mean, that's-
Usman, it was
I think
all
that's a
about
big
money
part of
for
it.
him.
Oh yeah,
It was
he
nothing-
never the same.
It's
It
at
was
least
all about
it's at
money.
least
Yeah.
something. It's at least a little bit of a factor.
I'm going more off of like their other than Mayhem, their fight career.
If you were somebody and then after you going on your losing streak and you were absolutely nobody, I think that is a much bigger fall from grace than you going on a losing streak and then still being a part of a massive broadcast team or
Woodley is
something.
more of a somebody from getting knocked out by Jake Paul twice. If he didn't do those
Yeah,
2
well,
fights, he's not going to be doing what you're saying.
I think that kind
Twice?
of. I mean, he lost the decision the first time, but
second time.
Yeah.
but I mean, I think that. I mean, let's Mayhem again. Mayhem went on a losing streak, and then is now just a nobody in the whole fight scene.
But at one point in time,
He was incarcerated.
He was like, you couldn't get away from bully beatdown. That was the ridiculousness of the time.
The difference between that
And I
is
think
if
that you're
Mayhem
making my
wasn't,
point for me.
but if he also wasn't
I'm
incarcerated
saying
for
for-
10 plus years, essentially on and off, he would have always been in the media. He would probably arguably be on a desk right now for some promotion.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Right.
Yeah, I think it. Fuck it, you know.
How is
Exactly.
Marlon Moraes not on any of your guys' list?
2 to you.
So fucking stupid.
Who's your 2?
My number 2, arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time, hands down, and most people who is educated and loves the sports list. And he went on a 7-fight losing streak. And I'm not even sure if he's officially retired, to be honest with you guys. Like, we could see another epic fail from this guy.
Go ahead.
BJ Penn, 12-13 in the UFC. Number 2.
He's done.
Yeah.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. I hope he was done a long time ago.
Again,
He's
BJ
done.
Penn did not make my list because he
But
lost
guess
a
what?
lot
We
while he was good.
But we said Nick Diaz was done a decade ago. Then he came back and fought. He lost and did terrible. And we said, oh, he's definitely not coming back. And guess what?
Nick
He's
Diaz
about to
wasn't
fight
done
again.
because he was getting fucked up. He was
Right.
done because he got suspended for weed and all that.
for like
bullshit.
fucking 4 years.
Yeah, but then he got fucked up after. And
2 to
twice,
Chad?
twice.
2 to me. Guys, 25-11, 15-9 in UFC. Went on a 12-fight win streak.
Tony Ferguson.
Tony Ferguson.
Solid ass top 2 right there.
That's my number 2.
Solid ass top 2. You're the first one to bring him up. How about that? What does that say to you guys?
I mean,
What does that mean?
Wait, what are you talking about?
we're gonna hear about him.
Oh wait, you brought up Tony.
Tony
Never mind.
He's a four.
Dumbass over here brought him up way
No,
too early.
Forced a little
Hayden
low.
Way too
Burrell
early.
Was
Wait, hold on.
champ.
Hold on. So who was your 3?
Hayden Brow.
Did you say your 2?
Woodley.
See that? I mean, Ferguson.
Woodley,
yeah, it's
Woodley.
kinda-
Come on, that's
Woodley
insane.
was champ. Woodley was
Yeah.
champ. Defended 4 times. I get it, but I agree. I think he was a little
So
too
what?
high.
I mean, Woodley went on what 4 fight wins, losing like four losses in a row
I
in
think
the UFC.
to really good guys.
versus Ferguson on a 12-fight win streak, losing 7 in a row.
8.
Yeah.
I think Tony Ferguson's
Tony was
stardom
never champ. He was interim
overtook
champ.
Woodley
Because
even
of cancel
without winning the
bouts.
belt.
Because of cancel bouts.
So how many fights?
That's all. Yeah.
How many?
I see what you're saying.
If you're taking 2 losing streaks, what does the math add up to where an interim passes a champ?
Oh, Tony.
How many more losses do you need?
Yeah, no
Pass.
more than 8, right? Because that's the record. That's the record.
literally on an
I get it.
8-fight skid.
Yeah.
So
If you hold the record
He
in
went
the
from-
UFC for the most losses in a row and not being cut, you are number 1.
he
And
literally went to being 15-1 in the UFC, being the most feared man in the division,
15-9,
to 15-9.
and shoulda, coulda, woulda, but he was going to fight in the UFC again.
Yeah.
He didn't retire.
Right.
Yeah,
He's gonna fight in the UFC again.
He was half in, half out. You know, he's gonna fight.
Yeah.
Where are we at now?
1 to me.
Okay.
1 to me. 34-11 in MMA, 17-7 in UFC.
Mm-hmm.
He won the title from Rich Franklin back in the day.
Chucky.
Anderson Silva.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anderson Silva.
Is your biggest,
My biggest
Jesus.
fall from grace.
no matter what, he's on the Mount Rushmore.
no matter what. Yeah, exactly. You can't pick a guy who's literally
Yes, you can.
top
You're
3 of
He's my number
every-
1 as well.
What?
Yes.
Come on,
but
guys.
he's like the Mount. I mean, he was like on our.
But
What
no,
was
no,
he?
no.
Fall
We're
from grace.
Wasn't he your number 1 champ of all
Yes.
time?
Yeah, and my number 6, and he gave me shit for it.
That's stupid. Guys,
If someone's
you
the number
guys-
1 champion of all
It
time,
does, no.
that
That's not
doesn't mean
that
a fucking goddamn thing.
It
That
doesn't
even
fall
that,
from grace doesn't mean you hate the guy and he
that makes our
wasn't
point.
shit.
That makes
It
our
just
point.
means during his highest
But
high.
also, didn't you say like he was old at this point?
Here's
He literally
he
went-
was. But here,
he
listen.
literally, hold on. He went literally was at the highest of highs. Went on the record 15 title defenses. 15 of them, right? And then lost to fucking Weidman, right? And was never the same. Went 1-7 his last 8 fights. Okay, was never the same.
He lost to Izzy. He lost to Cannonier. He lost to Daniel Cormier, a weight class up for
Pull
UFC
his shit
200.
You got the fall from grace is where you were at the highest of highs.
He was at
And you
the
fell.
fucking epitome
meaning
of the
you
sport.
were the GOAT.
My thing is, he's never gonna not have grace.
Yeah, exactly.
Every MMA fan's
Exactly.
gonna
He's
still
No,
gonna have
that's-
grace.
There
You
is
can't-
no fall.
That's all speculation
No, it is.
on
It's
it's
all-
all
not
subjective.
when he's collectively in
So,
the
I
Mount
mean,
Rushmore
it's speculation
among everyone.
to say that if you
It's-
ask MMA fans who's like one of the like top 5 best champs
that
of all
doesn't
time,
matter.
he's-
Doesn't matter.
that's grace, like
That's-
current grace.
yes.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
Yes,
it is not.
Because to this day,
They're talking about his prime fucking years.
no, dude, they're talking about his career for career.
I mean, I think that's. I mean, but I think
But BJ Penn is still on a Mount Rushmore, but he's on a
But
list.
he's not though. He's on some people's Mount Rushmore. He's not actually on the
No.
Mount Rushmore.
Guys,
he wasn't in. Was BJ in like any of our top 10s?
I'm saying he's
Yes,
on a
why?
lot of people in the MMA community. He would probably be on one of the best, if not the best, in his division at the time.
just real quick.
all that stuff.
He
But he
was
fell from
on.
grace.
He was on a 1,000,000 fucking fight win streak.
Okay, go from right
he
there,
lost
Tony.
to Yushino Kami for knocking him out.
Go from Tony up, down,
Tony.
right there above Yushin.
Okay. Chris Lieben, Rich Franklin, Travis Lutter, Nate Marquardt, Rich Franklin, Dan Henderson.
Have you
James
guys heard
Irvin.
of any of
15.
these guys?
15.
I know
17.
every single fucking one of these fighters. Keep going.
17. 17 straight.
Patrick Cote, Talis Laitis, Forrest Griffin, Damian Maya, Chael Sonnen, Vitor Belfort, you shouldn't call me Chael Sonnen and Stephen
I
Bonner.
think it's just kind of a slap in the face to put him as your number one. when
No,
he's a
it's
Mount
not.
Rushmore.
It's not a slap in the
it's not.
face. We're
It's
not disrespecting his
No,
his
no.
I understand
work.
where you guys are coming from. It's just, I think it's, I don't know.
It's
So he-
not being disrespectful in the fact that he's
49 now, and his last UFC fight was in 2020. What's the math on that?
45.
he was 45 in his last fight. So for Uriah Hall,
So he's pretty old.
Listen. I'm not talking about his last.
you're not
2 to
talking
3
about that
fights.
saying he was just some shit fighter.
He gets knocked out by Chris Weidman he was being cocky as fuck. Whatever.
I gotta
Comes
pee.
back, breaks his leg. He's
Yep.
not the same guy after that. That is a fall from where he was. He was
He
never the
literally
same
was-
after
Isn't that counter arguing the fact of when I brought up Chris Weidman earlier as how much of a piece of shit? I thought you were like,
I have Weidman on my list. He's number
Weidman's
6.
on my list.
but
too.
somebody was giving me shit because he broke his leg and he shouldn't be on my list like that.
No.
I don't remember that.
I was
but-
just saying that I'm giving Weidman credit for coming back and still doing the shit. But
Oh, okay, that's what it
I
was.
feel like
So did fucking
I know,
Silva.
but I just feel like when we're saying fall from grace, like
meaning you ended
have
your
to
career
fall-
badly, like with
Guys,
a bad taste in
how
everybody's
it-
mouth.
that's
But
a-
what
bad
else?
taste.
What else can you fall from? He was the greatest champ ever,
so
and
basically.
then loses a fuckload. Like,
So,
what
so
else are we-
basically, any champions that lose, like have a losing streak, are just number one on the list, no matter what,
this guy is the greatest champ ever.
Mm,
in your opinion.
yeah,
What was he, number 2 on your guys'
Well,
fucking
here's what I'm
list?
Six.
saying. I feel like
number 6.
I feel like Grace is like almost an opinion thing,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you're that. Yeah.
and I feel like no matter what, losing streak or not, when he's in his 40s, the grace is still there from the community.
No, I'm talking
reached such
about
a high
nobody
fall
nobody
from
thinks
grace
nobody
at
thinks
the
Anderson
time.
Silva sucks.
He reached such
it
a
doesn't
high.
mean- That's not
but
what
that-
we're
but
saying.
that's like what
I don't think we think any of these guys on our list really suck.
I'm
Chris
saying
Weidman.
I'm saying a
I think-
fall
For
from
re-
grace
for real.
at the
Yeah, he sucks
time.
dick.
I think Tony Ferguson sucks.
Do you think Cody Garbrandt sucks?
No, but he's way lower.
Okay, but he's still made your list.
Chris Weidman sucks.
I think Anderson Silva, Cody Garbrandt.
But
think
still,
don't-
it's not saying they suck. None
Listen,
of these
I-
guys on my list, I think, suck.
I do see where they're coming from, but I am with you, John. I think it's just like he's a little too
All right.
he's a little too high up on everyone's
No.
pinnacle of the everything. To
Comparatively,
This
I
was
think a
fall from
lot of people
grace.
would agree with me.
I literally put him 1 immediately.
I
He
think
was my auto lock at 1.
he's
based
too,
on certain
he's
based
too
on certain
s-
technicalities, maybe.
He's too cemented in MMA
I put all that aside.
lore, like
Everything.
I
new
put all-
fans, old fans.
but I
doesn't
don't
matter.
think you. I don't think
He's
you should.
cemented as like top.
I,
Three.
Yeah, but
I
that
don't
doesn't
think
mean that
doesn't
he
matter.
didn't have a fall.
Yes, it does because
No.
nobody
Because
nobody looks at
he
Anderson
had a
Silva
fall,
and be
but
like,
it wasn't from
he
grace.
sucked at the end of his
That's
we
career.
never said he
no
sucked.
one's saying he sucked.
No, I know, but I'm saying nobody. I mean, I feel like fall from
A
grace,
fall from grace means you were at the top, the pinnacle, right?
but
Then
grace.
you literally started losing until you retired or you were out of the sport.
That's a fall.
To me, I feel like grace is not. It's not a stat. It is a. What do people think
Of him.
of your career?
I
I
See,
bet you if you went around the community and that you asked around and said, okay, we're not saying Anderson Silva sucks. Anybody who thinks he sucks other than Chael Sonnen sucks, right?
He's right though.
He is right, and he's right about
Exactly.
carrots. He's right
So
about
anybody who
for,
thinks he sucks would be a fucking idiot, right? Nobody thinks he sucks. But are you going to say that just because he didn't lose doesn't mean he didn't fall off?
Right.
He fell off.
Yeah, I mean, that losing streak, but
Yeah,
After
a big
being
one.
After arguably the greatest
Yes,
champ ever.
exactly.
Ever.
being at
Nah.
the highest of
Ever!
highs. At the
I
highest
disagree.
of highs.
GSP and
I-
John Jones are before him for sure.
I guess
Regardless, top 3.
And Khabib probably.
No, fuck you. Go fuck a goat in Dagestan. Fuck you.
I guess agree to disagree because my list is like I took the MMA community into
I
my
agree.
I
list.
didn't
I
because
did
they're
too.
all fucking
But
bleep that out.
But you can't. No, don't. I love. Keep it
bleep,
in.
bleep, bleep, bleep.
Keep it in.
So I feel like the narrative around Cody, his fall from grace, at least in my brain,
He's
is
still
worse than
actively
Anderson Silva.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Way
man.
worse.
I see both sides of
That's
this, boys.
crazy, bro.
No, I don't think it's crazy.
It's
I think
different.
John
Cody's
Sport
not
is crazy.
cemented on the Rushmore. Cody's not
honestly,
chiseled
I don't
into
care
the
about that.
mountain.
Cody is
He's
still
literally-
actively fighting
But okay,
and
so
winning.
BJ is not on the Rushmore, but you say he's pretty close.
So he's
Pretty
on.
close.
He's on a lot of people's Rushmore.
But he's on our list here.
And BJ's record sucks.
And we don't have a problem with it.
cock.
Yeah, like before Anderson's.
Way before.
Well, it doesn't matter if he's before or after. He's on the list.
Yeah, that point I just made is actually completely against what I was saying.
We got him. Finally.
Okay, so,
So,
no,
that was my
kinda,
number one.
Kinda.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Kinda.
I do get what you're
Okay,
saying.
my
too.
number one, your number one.
My number one should absolutely, unarguably be number one because he holds the fucking record for having the most losing streak ever.
Yeah,
He's my number one too.
that's fine. That's stupid, guys.
The guy went 12 straight, was the most feared guy in the division, was ducked by all the best at the top of the line at the time. Even some might even say that Khabib was slightly ducking him. I'm not going to say that that's true.
Shit.
So you're admitting that Khabib is the fucking man then?
No, absolutely not. He just that was
Point
close.
is,
That
it's
was-
Tony fucking Ferguson. He is
Close
number
Conor Dan
one,
Hardy.
fall from grace, and there is. I don't even think it's
Make that a
arguable.
clip.
I don't think it's
Make that a clip.
arguable. I don't think it's arguable.
It is because the grace that he fell from was not as high as a guy like Anderson fucking Silva.
12 straight though.
That's fine. I don't
12
care.
straight.
He
Oh,
won.
yeah, great.
He never won an interim.
You-
He
you're
won an
saying,
interim belt. Never
like,
won the belt.
And it's your
He
list,
could
and I
have,
don't
though.
think it's
He
a
could
bad.
have, though.
Could have speculation.
He had 4 canceled bouts
I
that
don't
were for the title.
I don't think that your guy is a bad pick because he was my number 2. But you're saying he won 12, and then Anderson Silva had 15 title
I've just never
defenses.
seen. Okay, everybody shut up for 10 seconds. I
Defenses.
doubt it's possible for you guys, but hold on. I have never seen a fucking guy look as good as that, as scary and as fluid and as just always on as that, go to being the guy who you would bet your bank account that he was going to lose.
Same with Anderson Silva.
No,
100%.
No.
You never thought
It's not the
Anderson
same.
Silva
Yes, it
was
is.
going
It's
to
not
be
the same.
It's the exact
No,
same.
because Anderson Silva lost to guys like Daniel Cormier, a fucking a whole weight class above. He lost to guys that
was
were
the last
just
minute thing.
doesn't matter. That's part of his losing streak.
What are
it's
you
part.
Are
It's
you
part of his,
discrediting DC right now? Is
I
that
am
what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that Tony was always fighting the who's fucking who,
And so was Anderson.
and he
Silva.
was dude. Anderson fought. He made his fucking.
Okay, so you're saying
He made his record off of Chris. What's his fucking
Rich Franklin?
No, not Rich Franklin.
Chris Lieben.
Chris Lieben. Thank you.
That was
That
his
was his
debut.
first fight at the
That was his debut.
UFC, bro.
Just saying, they were already sucking his dick to the nth degree after his
No,
first.
I feel like to make your point, you should be talking up these guys that he beat.
Okay, fine, whatever. I'm drunk. My point is, it's crazy to not have Tony Ferguson in your top 2. If he's not in your top 2, you are mentally retarded.
He's
You
four.
need a helmet, Dylan Edwards. You need a fucking helmet with a propeller on it.
Listen, I never held Tony to the heights that you guys have.
I'm not even saying I have either, but that's just what it is.
Sounds like it.
When it comes to, well, no, dude. When it comes to the time and the place and the era that he fought in, and then he was that successful in, and then at the era that he should be even better than he was, and then he just fell off. Like, dude, he just literally hit rock bottom in all areas of his life at the same time, and then continued to do so for 8 fucking fights straight. Look at go to his loss record right now, John.
So you guys are saying that because the UFC has allowed him to lose 8 fights in a row, that's why he deserves number 1.
Allowed
I
him.
mean, that's part of it because the UFC could have let Darren Till stay in the UFC and keep
Exactly.
losing.
But they
But
didn't.
he
They
didn't.
let him go. But hold on. We got. He lost to Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler, Nate Diaz, Bobby Green,
Okay,
Patty Pimblett.
you-
Patty Pimblett!
Listen.
Michael Chiesa. You shit all over Patty your
Listen.
entire life. Listen, Nate, listen. Look at his last 4. The first 4 are they're justifiable.
You're proving my point.
The first 4 are justifiable.
Okay, now you're reeling it back in. I see.
They're
I see what you're doing now.
justifiable. His last 4, Those should have all been those last 4 should have all been first round finishes in Tony Ferguson, the actual Tony that we
In
know. El Kakui,
2010. Yeah,
the
you're right,
boogeyman
you're
we
right.
know. Those last 4 should have not even been close.
Yeah, in 2012. You're
And
right.
he lost all of them badly. He got choked out by Nate Diaz, choked out by Bobby Green.
Who's
he
better
lost
than what you think.
He lost a decision by Patty, and then choked out by Michael Chiesa.
Who's a jiu-jitsu specialist.
Michael Chiesa will never, ever even come close to fighting for a title.
Who fucking cares? You always throw that in there. That is irrelevant.
It matters because
that shit
Tony
does not matter.
Because Tony is not old enough or washed up enough or anything enough to be losing like that.
He's 40 and has lost 8 in a row. You're contradicting the fuck out of yourself right now.
I don't think so. No,
Yes,
I'm talking about no. He wasn't 40 in 2022, dude.
You said Michael Chiesa. That was this year. That was a month ago.
I'm saying all of these guys he should have beat. On paper, he should have beat all of these motherfuckers except for Chucky Olives. That's the only one out of
the
all of
first
those
4.
fucking fights that had a standing chance against Tony in his prime.
You're crazy.
Okay.
All right.
John's got
Do you-
Tony Ferguson.
Have you said your one yet?
Silva.
Anderson?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's down to you.
Let's move on to the HMs, and I want to segue into the HMs by saying that the reason that Anderson is not in my list is similar to why Rashad Evans is not in my honorable mentions.
Interesting.
Rashad went on a, I think, 5-fight losing streak. But, and this is just a personal thing for me, is that Rashad is kind of etched in stone as like a fucking legend that I will never not think is a legend, similar to Anderson Silva.
See, I didn't take that into consideration at all.
He went on a 5-fight losing streak to end his UFC career and then retired and then fought in Eagle FC against some guy nobody's ever heard of. But that's kind of why Anderson Silva is not on my list, is because he's that guy. He is top
But
maybe 5 champs of all
So
time.
are you saying you don't, on your list, I can't remember your whole list, but you don't have any legends?
I mean, BJ at 7.
I mean,
But BJ, I mean,
even if he lost in his
can't-
career,
I
he
can't-
he was at one point high.
BJ didn't have that high of
I
high.
can't understand.
He was trying to
You have
be
BJ
the
at
first.
7?
He was trying to
Yeah.
be a double champ.
and not Anderson Silva anywhere.
No.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is just, I guess, my opinion, but like, I
Yeah,
feel
our
like
lists
Anderson
are all,
Silva,
you know-
like, it's just, there's just no way that he will ever not be one of the GOATs.
Yeah, but he ended his UFC career way worse than a lot of the guys you got on your list.
His fall off of going from this top to this, it's
you
Yeah.
can't.
one of the worst we've seen.
Yeah, it's one, bro.
Yeah.
It's one.
Yeah, and that's why these lists, it's cool to hear different ideas and opinions. So,
What about I got Paul Daly on my honorable mentions.
wow.
He had a UFC fight.
Yeah, but he made it to the UFC and punched Koscheck in the head and
Yeah.
immediately got cut and never got back to the UFC.
He's definitely not on my list.
No, I feel like, I mean,
An honorable mention.
Okay,
here.
not
He had
in
a
my
good-
HM.
but he had a
either.
good career outside the UFC. like,
Right.
after
Mirko Krokop.
I thought about him.
He was a pride badass, got in the UFC, didn't win a whole lot.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I have Vanderlei on mine.
I had Marlon Moraes on my honorables.
Yeah.
You said Vanderlei?
Vanderlei, because he had like a humongous win streak in Pride, and like it's like every time he fought in the UFC, he lost.
Rampage got his win back
Yeah.
against Vanderlei.
Some
in the
HMs
UFC.
I had were Luke Rockhold, Cody Garbrandt, some of the people I had Shogun on here.
To the Shogun,
Mhm.
really?
I also had
He ended his
JDS.
career, Shogun ended his career great.
To the Dominic
Shogun.
Reyes effect, I had Thiago Santos.
Shogun's that's I don't
Arguably-
I don't agree with
No.
the Shogun.
Shogun lost
Thiago?
5 of his
Nah.
last 8.
You go from almost beating John Jones to losing in the PFL, getting finished in the PFL.
Yeah, but again, like kind of like Reyes, like nobody knew
Hon-
who he was when he fought John Jones.
Honorable mention.
Who was that?
Thiago Santos.
Oh,
Mm,
he was not on.
no.
Here's a guy,
JB Dalloway.
Hector Lombard.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a
He
good
came,
one.
he came to the UFC and he beat Nate Marquardt.
Well, Dan Henderson ended that for him.
He beat Nate Marquardt, Jake Shields, and then beat Josh Berkman, but failed a drug test. And then Lost 6 straight.
Yeah.
If we bring in
it's a good- it's a good one.
bring in drug tests into this whole list, everything changes.
Anthony
Yeah.
Pettis, drug test guy.
Anderson Silva,
Well, yeah.
everything changes.
I went on to
Johnny Hendricks.
had a couple guys in there. I mean, I had John Jones and Conor McGregor. You know, if you go off of their antics outside of the cage,
Yeah.
shit like that.
John Jones can make this.
I also
list.
had a
I
Tai
just don't agree with
Tuivasa
it.
on here. Being a fan favorite, now he's on a 5-fight skid. You know,
Yeah, but he didn't really get far enough though.
I had JDS.
Okay,
He's on there.
it's fair.
I mean, lost 8 of his last 15.
It's fair.
Shogun. I think that's what I have. Yep, that's what I got.
Chris Dawkins.
All right, Dawkins had a little run,
Dawkins got up higher there and then realized he was getting knocked out.
but
by
nobody knows who he is unless they pay attention to the sport.
Well, see, my big thing with Dawkins is that he actually lost. He lost in the UFC, 5 straight knockouts?
Yeah.
And then he lost outside the UFC, too.
Oh, shit.
It was a decision. But, I mean, his first fight outside the UFC, he lost to Fawn the Don. That definitely didn't get very high, but, I mean, literally getting knocked out 5 straight times in all but one or in the first round.
Yeah.
And the other one's the second round.
Yeah, see, the fall from grace, obviously, that it's opinion based and everything.
It's very subjective.
Yeah, I think.
I like doing the lists that are more subjective. I think the worst list we ever did was the greatest fighter of all time list because
The champ. I feel like we agreed more on that one than
no,
anything
maybe
else.
so, but it was still like the most least subjective list we have done, so it made it harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can get away with a few guys, you know.
So one more I want to mention. Casey Kinney. You know what I'm talking about, Chad.
Well,
Okay.
I know who you're talking about too.
Now this is a one that's outside the cage. He literally his last 2 fights were both. Well, I think they were both split decisions, or maybe one was a UD.
mhm.
Lost to Song Yadong and Dominic Cruz, both decisions, and then took a long time off, and just recently was arrested for kidnapping and multiple domestic assault charges.
Yeah, it's not a nice person.
And I mean, you lose a split decision to Dominic Cruz, and then you get arrested for assault.
Who are you talking about?
Casey Kinney. He literally his last. Yeah, he lost back to
Oh,
back.
that happened like a couple days ago.
Yeah, it was more
The
than that.
kidnapping shit.
He lost back-to-back split decisions to Song Yadong and Dominic Cruz in the UFC. And then he got arrested for kidnapping and multiple assault charges of domestic violence.
Speaking of that, a guy we talked about. What about War Machine?
Yeah.
Could be on the list.
Yeah.
Because he got mentioned before because he was a fighter of somebody
Again,
and I
didn't fall
thought
from very high,
No.
but still a guy in the mix.
was in the race. He was
fight
yeah,
for good promotions, and then is doing life in prison right now.
as he should.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He should have
Dylan-
all of his teeth pulled out and get fucked in the ass.
We talked about this yesterday. Miguel Torres.
Yeah.
He was 37-1.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now he kind of, damage / old age kind of hurt him, but he
Yeah.
was like the guy in WEC.
And I want to say he tore his knee at some point as well.
Probably did. He was 37-1, and he ended his career 44-9.
I think it was after his UFC run that he blew his knee, but that was just like, oh, okay, he tore his knee outside of the UFC. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it was Miguel.
Comparatively, just from the list that I looked at online, he was on there. He was one of the guys that was on the list. He was in my HM, so I don't think that's a bad one at all.
I got a weird one. Muhammad Makayev just got cut,
Yeah.
just got turned down by PFL, and just signed with Brave FC. I believe.
Went right back where he came from.
Yep. How
You fight for Brave, then yikes.
Brave's a good
It's a-
regional promotion,
it's
but
a
Yeah,
good
but it means you're
regional-
never going to get anywhere in any other.
it's a
promotions.
feeder to the UFC,
yeah.
but he's right back there after
He's gonna have to fight there a few times and
Being
show
a-
that he's matured or
being
something.
undefeated in the UFC.
Oh yeah.
And now he's back to where he got to the show from.
Now, especially if he goes to Brave and starts getting his shit kicked in, That'd be wild.
Which he won't.
He
Yeah.
won't.
But that's kind of like a we'll see one for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if the UFC they're petty like that. They I could see them just
Not.
you've won 27 in a row. Nah,
Right. Right.
but all right. Anything else on this?
No, that was a cool list.
A lot of
Some wild shit in
disagreements
there.
on this one.
There was.
It got more heated
And I think
than what I
think
thought.
it's going to be.
You idiots.
There's quite a bit of, it's subjective, so it's opinion
Tony
based.
at 4 is dumb. You're dumb.
No,
I think,
not.
It's pretty wild.
Having Robbie Lawler on your list, you're dumb.
Yeah, you're dumb for that.
No, you're dumb for that too, though.
We're all dumb. All right. At HR Podcast, Instagram, at Hungover and Right, TikTok. Socials will be on the screen right now. Let us know who your top 10 is.
I bet you won't, pussies. Like literally, I bet you all $100 a piece that nobody will.
No.
All right,
I'd
we're back.
laugh.
Who wants to say the bet? Come on.
Everybody does it. That'd be so fucking funny.
Oh man.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Later.